On the surface, Pokemon looks like nothing more than a kid's game with little or no value other than having some pocket monsters probably ending up in your kid's back pocket, likely to ruin the next load of laundry. However, any who dare to step into the space and tumble down the rabbit hole, much like Alice in Wonderland, will find an entire world filled with candy and more temptations than Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and better connections than the well known sitcom Friends. The true connections made and the memories that we create here through Pokemon is the real pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. And as you will see here today, we will unravel with Felipe, who embodies every aspect we've already articulated and so much more. From deepening his bond with his son through Pokemon, building a plethora of lifelong relationships through social media, and the very moment and podcast that we have and will share with you here today. So it is deeply my pleasure to welcome Filipe De Sousa to Pokemon Wonder. Welcome, my friend.
Hey, everyone. Thanks, Wonder. Honestly, first of all, I want to start off and say thank you very much for inviting me on. I've been kind of in the background and kind of hiding in the chats for a few years now, and really excited to kind of get out there and let people understand a little bit about who I am and what I'm all about, and really excited for it. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, and I think everybody else here will thoroughly enjoy it. So that, and my friend, is no doubt in my mind, which is a great transition. So tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and kind of how you first got into the step of Pokemon, and of course, leading into that, we'll go from there.
Well, I'll start with Pokemon. And where did Pokemon start for me? It kind of started at the same timeline as a lot of people in the hobby. I mean, most people started right when Pokemon came out with base set, and at that time, most of you were a little bit younger to me. I mean, I'm 47, turning 48, so I was probably about 5, 6, or 7, 8 years older than most of you guys that are in the hobby. So when the hobby came out, I was already kind of moved on to chasing the girls around and hanging out with buddies and a little bit more of that type of thing. But I did get exposure to it. I mean, my sister, she's 8 years older than me, and she has two kids. I have a niece and a nephew, and they lived with me at that time. Like, we all lived together in the same house. So I grew up with them, and they were right in that pocket of Pokemon. And my nephew collected Pokemon, and he was really into it. And he was definitely a collector. He's one of those kids that took really good care of his cards, and he'd sleeve them. He wouldn't really play with them, and he's always kind of been like that. He has his collection. I would love to see it. It's buried somewhere in storage. And I've been bugging my sister forever. I'm like, you gotta let me see what the hell he has in there. But I've never been able to see it. But I'd love to see what his collection is. I know he has some magic too in there.
That'd be nice to see.
Yeah, but anyway, he was all into it. He played the video games. Like, he had the Game Boy, the yellow one with the Pikachu on it, and he was all into it. And watched the cartoons, and so I kind of grew up with it peripherally at that time. I didn't get into it personally, but I was around it, and I, obviously knew about it, but I really got into it is through my son. My son, I guess he was around maybe grade 2, around that 6, 7 years old age, around that time. And Pokemon kind of got big at his school. That's kind of right around 2016, kind of when Evolutions was coming out. Because I remember that's the set that I have the most of when I look back at our old cards when we first started going. And honestly, at that time, I knew nothing about Pokemon. Like, I thought all the packs were the same and had the same cards in it. I didn't even know there was different pulls. Like, I thought the only way you could get a good pull was by buying a promo. Like, I had no clue at all.
Had to get different artwork.
Yeah,
exactly.
And at first, he just started collecting them, and he'd bring them to school, and he'd trade them at school, and he'd get scammed and get like a fake card, and and then eventually his school kind of banned it. Like, they did the same thing that they did back in back when it first came out. And they said, okay, that's it, no more Pokemon at school. And but we ended up getting really into it at that time. And like for Christmas, that's kind of what he wanted, so we were buying collection boxes for him and stuff like that. And he was still kind of young to play the game. Like, I don't know if he could read the cards properly or really digest, kind of the mechanics of the game. So we kind of created a simplified version of the game, and we'd play together. And we'd make decks, and like, we didn't have sleeves, we didn't have nothing. Like, we shuffled the deck like you were shuffling the deck of cards, and those cards were so heavily played. And then that's kind of where it started from there. And then from there, he kind of fell off it a little bit once it got banned from school. We played, every once in a while we'd still get together and play. Sorry, my computer just kind of glitched.
Okay, I can still see. Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Then we kind of during the pandemic time, we started getting back into it again. Now my son was a little bit older at this point.
Okay.
And that's when we started more collecting. Like, that's when we started. Okay, we started and we said, okay, let's make a binder set. So that was when we made our first binder sets. We master set at Vivid Voltage at that time, and that was right when Vivid Voltage came up. And it took us months to do it. I mean, we opened products slowly, and we got through it. I did have to buy some cards. We didn't pull everything out of the set, but pretty close. But that was our first match. And then from there, we kind of really got into it. And, we started completing more sets, and we started, like, essentially every time a new set would come out, we'd go and we'd buy, we'd buy the new set, try it out. We wouldn't binder every set. We'd kind of pick and choose which ones we wanted.
Good.
And then went from there. But we always opened at least at least an elite trainer box or a booster box of each set along the way. And then from there, I started getting really into it, and that's when I started really getting into the community. And then,
exactly.
My son now, he's 13, turning 18, and he's in the stage where he's thinking about girls and with his buddies and his friends, and and he's not as into it as he used to be. Like, every once in a while we'll still open packs, but it's, you can tell he's just not as excited about it as he was back in the day. So now here I am. I'm stuck in Pokemon land, and now I'm the collector, and he's moving on to bigger and brighter things. But I know he'll come back to it.
He will. Much like many of the people in the hobby, many people here in the chat, they get that early dose, and then they come back for more when they get some adult money. So
I tried running the YouTube. So I just let the chat know I can't see the chat right now. YouTube was what was slowing down. How my video was slowing down a little bit. So So I just turned YouTube off. I rather run the video like fine. So I don't see any of the comments. So if you see any cool spicy comments or anything like that, throw them up. I definitely would like to engage with all the crazies in the chat.
Just smash the chat button on the right hand side of the window you're looking at. You don't have to open up YouTube. At least that way you can see it.
Oh, okay.
Again, you can't respond to it there, but at least you can see it, and that way we can kind of pull up some things.
Let's
right here on topic, and we'll go through the chat here in just a minute and say hi. But Adam was wondering, did you pull that Rainbow Pikachu from Vivid?
We did. It was it was our second box, and that's one of the reasons we said, okay, you know what? Let's master set this one, because we pulled the chase, and we were like, okay, well, you got the hardest card to pull. And I'll never forget when we pulled it. My son literally, he ran around the house like he was so excited. He was screaming and yelling and running up and down the stairs, and he's like, Mom, you gotta come down and see. And he was super excited about that card. And then that was probably my most exciting pull, just because of his reaction to that pull. I don't think he ever reacted as big to any other pull as he did to that one. That was our first really, really, really big pull, and that card means a lot to me, for sure. I
bet you were smiling ear to ear, man.
Oh, for sure, yeah. That was a beauty too. It's a shame it wasn't perfectly centered, but it's in decent shape. It's probably a 9, but it's in
the binder, so in
It's
that
in the
regard,
binder.
it's
Yeah.
a 10. That's right.
Yeah. No, it's an 11
It's a
for me.
10 for experience. Exactly.
It's,
Well, before we jump in any further, let's just give a quick recognition here to the chat and show the love, everybody who's showing us the love. So going way back, actually, and I don't know why
oh
YouTube
man,
does
so
this,
many
but
legends in here. Holy
I
moly.
know, right? I know. Very, very thankful for everybody showing up. For some reason, YouTube removes like the first early comments, but 4 a.m. today, Drew was dropping in, some cheers and Felipe in the chat. It's not there anymore, but it was there when I can see the older ones. We got Neotao in there. We got Chef always supporting. iFomo, great to see you, my friend. We got Robin here from Red or Blue.
Oh,
Thanks,
so
Rob.
cool.
Thanks. Appreciate you joining, my friend.
Yeah, I love it, Rob.
We we had funny here. Funny. We got Terry Lake as well. Giovanni's Pikachu. Mrs. A is in here. Shovels.
Oh man.
Uh, Walrus actually joined. Thanks for joining and being a member, Walrus. Much appreciated, my friend. Much love. I knew you love me. I know you kid with me, but I knew you really love me, Walrus. We got Drew dropping 10 gifted. Drew, you don't have to do that, man.
That's,
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
what a legend.
And then, of course, a lot of people got the gifts from Drew. We got a lot of the lurkers out of there. We got Thrifty in the background.
Nice.
We got Terry. Terry got gifted a membership. Wonderful. Boondock Games is back there. Good to see you again, Shahib. MD Index. So many. Skater Nesto. Brad G. Brad, man, good to see you. Mason's back. I'm glad you got gifted a membership there, Mason. Appreciate it, Drew. Much appreciated. Ernie's in the house. Just your average Jeff. Peak that chew showing up. I love it. Professor Oak's in here. Oh, so many legends.
Oh my
Guys,
God,
thank you
it's crazy.
so much for
Chat's on
joining.
fire.
I know. I can't
I
keep
love it.
up. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. This is going to be a great conversation. And just buckle up. Let's have a good time. Let's have a good time.
Yeah.
Phil, you kind of went through and you talked a lot about your son. And I know in our kind of pre-call, that's a really big focal point for you. And obviously it is for me too. I think that's where we connected a lot in terms of how we got into the hobby and kind of got exposed to it in a more serious way. And we share that correlation. How does that look today? I know you mentioned he's getting out of it. You kind of took over the collection. You kind of got into it yourself. Are you primarily the main collector and he just kind of swings by on a good set and says, "Hey, Dad, let's open a pack"? Or are you mainly just by yourself now and enjoying what you got and picking up some sealed product along the way? What does that kind of journey look like where you sit today?
Yeah. Well, if I do open packs, it's with him. I don't open packs by myself. I never was like that. Like to me,
Yeah.
opening a pack, I think it's a communal thing, and I like to share that experience with someone. I'd hate to pull like this crazy card and there's no one there to see you do it. You know what I mean? It's like so if I do open packs, it is still with him. It is a little bit less, a lot. So my sealed collection is starting to grow, if you will. But the way I look at it, like, I mean, I kind of collect a little bit differently than everyone else. My perspective and my way I purchase these things for Pokemon, but they're not for me. They're all for my son. So when I buy something, I don't think of it as mine. And so like I don't really think of any of the collection really as mine. I think one day, it's all going to go to him. Like it really is. Like so. Unless he doesn't want it or whatever, or maybe I'll buy it off him or something. I don't know. But I definitely, I definitely look at everything that I have as kind of his, right?
Terry says, "Don't open it. Don't
Yeah,
open the sealed."
I use Spoken more. I definitely, just like everyone, you get in the hobby and it's super exciting. And at first you kind of overdo it, but you find out quickly, like you can't keep that pace up unless you just got endless amounts of money. So over the years, you kind of slow down, you pick and choose your battles a little bit more, and you go from there.
And kind of maybe digging just a little bit deeper on that. It sounds like, but you didn't really say it explicitly. Are you really focused on sealed? Do you also do graded cards? Obviously, you're doing some binder collections with your son, but if you're not opening packs that much, probably not doing that as much anymore.
Yeah.
Where's the focus for you in your collecting journey today?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything, to be honest. I have quite a bit of sealed. I do have I do still buy singles too. Like I will go on YouTube, on eBay, and I'll go and I'll look for cards that catch my eye, and I'll buy them. I'm not really a graded card collector generally.
Okay.
I don't really. I'm a raw dog. I like to. I like the idea of binder collecting a little bit more than the seal thing. I have graded some cards, especially with Rob. Shout out to Red or Blue. I mean, I do jump in on a break with him every once in a while, and I love. I love his
Yeah.
channel and what he does, and he's just such a great resource, especially to open up some Japanese packs that are
Yeah.
very difficult to get, and especially from a reputable source. Like some of these booster boxes he's opening, you wouldn't want to buy the whole booster box. It'd be like
Exactly.
over $1,000 a lot of these things, right? But you don't want to go on eBay and buy a single pack of that set, because
Exactly.
nine times out of 10 it'll be a Wade light pack, right? Or it might be heavy, but the big pulled out of it already. So it's great to have that resource there and be able to jump in. And I see some of the usuals there from Red or Blue Stream. I see Tweezer Cat and Mrs. A in the chat, and you'll see Peak That Chew kind of pop in and out of there too a lot. So yeah,
Fully
so
agree. Yeah.
yeah, kind of to answer your question, it's kind of singles. I have had some cards graded, and I've started grading some of those packs. Like when Rob weighs a light one out for me, I might grade the light packs, and we've had actually some
Okay.
good luck in the last couple of submissions there with him. And sealed, I try to get Japanese product, but it's very difficult. I find it very expensive, especially over the last year was very expensive and difficult to get. So I was jumping in the Amazon lotteries, and I got lucky with a few. I was able to pick up quite a few from there, and there was a couple of made to order from the Pokemon website in Japan as well that I was able to get in on.
Okay, so you're deep down the Japanese rabbit hole then. I see. I
Well,
see.
my collection is probably 60-40.
Okay.
Most of my it's probably 60-40, probably Japanese to English. I like Japanese better. I like the cards better. They look better, especially now that I'm not really playing.
Right.
Now I can kind of get into Japanese a little bit more. And honestly, Japanese has done really well. I kind of got into it when that boom happened and there was no product anywhere. And if you did find it, it was so expensive. Japanese at that time was actually kind of a good price. And all of that sealed product I bought back in that day, I wish I'd never opened any of it, because it all did really well. I still do have like a booster box of each of them. I always keep one behind, but man, the ones that I was trying to master Tag Bolt there for a while back at that time. And you could get those booster boxes for like $80-$90 at that time. Now they're like $300-$400. That's crazy. Who knew? Yeah, it was interesting. And then I saw Japanese take off, but I was already into it. So, but I just love their texture. I love the look of those cards, and the quality is just so good.
And kind of maybe rolling it back just for a second to what you were doing there with Rob. Fully agree. Rob's one of the greats, man. Really love him. He's going good places. When you do some of the packs with him, are you grading through Rob's consignment services as well?
Yeah, I have for sure.
Awesome.
I've graded cards, and I've graded some packs with him, and it's been great. And essentially, those are any of the graded cards I've done has been through Rob. Like I've never sent a submission in myself.
Rob says those packs are actually or boxes are actually $500 to $600 now.
See? So. Yeah, crazy. But that said, I do have some great cards from that set pulled, because I opened I probably opened about 3 booster boxes of that at the time, and I kept one behind. So, but
you gotta always try to hold at least one.
Yeah, I like to too. And it's funny the way I collect. I'm a slow collector. I don't, because I'm not really selling. I don't really sell cards. I do it on a slower pace, but it's a slow and steady kind of pace, so it definitely builds up over the years. And I don't go in heavy. Like I won't spend $3,000 on one set, and like put like booster cases away, or I don't do that. But I will buy products that I really like products that I see that I think are great. And that's what I'll buy.
Okay. And yeah, we'll dig a little deeper on that one. But yeah, I think that's a great way to start it because it really sets the stage for how you got into it, how you're splitting now, or I should say, taking over a lot of the collecting because your son's onto other activities.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're split between Japanese and English and kind of where you look at that and how you try to balance the tables out a little bit. And you actually said it here, and it was quite interesting because it was hard for me to believe as we had the pre-call, the fact that you've never so it's just that you it's not that you just don't sell, you've never sold a card in your life.
Yeah. Not even an energy.
That that just it's hard for me to fathom because most of us here to some degree we're trading, we're selling, we're doing
Yeah.
something in addition to everything else.
Yeah.
um, what was the reason for, because it's a very conscious decision, so what was the reason behind that?
You know, I kind of Pokemon for me. It's a hobby. It's like a true hobby, and it's kind of a stress release for me. Um,
Mm,
I I want the intention to it to always be a source of relaxation, a source of pleasure, a source
mm,
of
right.
kind of release. I work in a a high level job, and and I'm very engaged in work, and there's a lot of numbers and spreadsheets, and I'm kind of into the business side of things for a living. So
Right.
when I get into Pokemon, I don't want to those to intermingle. I like them separate for now. I mean, that said, who knows down the road that might change if we ever need to, and that's why I spend so much time watching all these flippers and scalpers and and but it's good to know.
Deepen
It's
your
good to
knowledge.
do all that research now, and that way, if
Yeah.
I ever need to, I got a good understanding of what it takes to get through the and do things right.
Straight
That's
from the
right.
source here. Yeah. Collectors are greater than dumb, smelly flippers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's funny. Sometimes I'll troll in the chat and say, like, I can't sell any of my cards because who's going to take care of my little pokey babies at night, and keep them all warm and safe, So,
uh, and you also commented to it, I think, both here and I watched, by the way, nearly all 4 hours of the Jeopardy episode that you were
it
on
was a
with
good one, eh? That
Pokemon.
was a good
That
one,
was
wasn't it?
so good. That was so good. I really enjoyed that. You guys had a
So many,
blast.
so many cool people jumped into that one
Yeah.
live. It was so great. I mean, between you had Shiz, you had Professor Oak, obviously, and you had Ancient Mew, which shout out Ancient Mew. I miss him. He used to be a lot more active. You still see him in the discords, but I
Yeah.
do miss Ancient Mew. And then came on, Pikachu was on there. We had
Yep.
PK was on there.
Yes.
Mason
Greeny was
came
there.
on.
Yeah.
Basic
Yeah.
Trainer came on.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was
It was
it
a
was
good stream.
it was a stacked episode, and that's it. That was the only other time I've been on YouTube live other
This is
than
the second time. So here today. So we're
trolling in the chats with the rest of the
that's right. But in that same live, and I think you even mentioned it here today, is you see this entire collection as your son's. It's you don't even see it as your own, which
yeah,
really changes how you treat it. It changes what
yeah,
you do with it. And I thought about that a little bit because most of us who are parents, to some degree, most of what we accumulate in life will eventually be our children's.
yeah.
But I wanted to ask you this one, this very specific one. What have you thought about? What if your son holds zero value to everything that you've collected? What if he just sees it as junk and he doesn't care and just wants to throw it away?
Well, I don't know. I don't think he'd ever turn on Pokemon that much. I mean, it was part of his childhood too, right? Like, so we did spend years,
Yeah.
like in a couple times throughout the years, and he knows how interested I am in it and active I am in the community. So he understands that now. So I hope he never does that. But hey, you know what? If he does, then he does. I mean, what are you going to do? Maybe at
Right.
that point,
Right.
I'll say, you know what? Then now you can't have it.
That's right. That's right. And
I'll,
we're
I'll pull the
we're
rug
going to
out.
touch
That's
on
it.
what you're going to do with it because I know what you're going to do with it. But don't worry, Zach here, R&D Pokemoner says, "Don't worry, I'll take it for him. If he
Oh, that's
doesn't want
fine.
it,
Okay.
it's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you drive to
Pokemon
Canada, just bring a big truck.
U-Haul. Yeah. Bring a U-Haul. Back it up. Back it up. The other thing that you already mentioned as well, and again, it just really is hard for me to process, is you never, and it wasn't like, oh, I rarely do it or not that often. It's you never open a pack by yourself.
Yeah,
Not
the
once.
only time I've opened, my wife bought me one of those advent calendars, the ones with the packs inside, the one
Yeah,
for
right.
Christmas.
Holiday,
That's the
yeah.
only packs that I've opened by myself or from that advent calendar. I'd look forward to it. It would be in the morning, I'd go have my coffee, then I'd go and open up a pack.
I love
But
that.
yeah, other than that, no, it's always, I'll open it with someone else. I don't want, I don't like the idea of opening by myself. I don't, like if you pull something cool, there's just no one there to enjoy it with. I don't know. I know some people that they'll buy a booster box and they'll just sit there and blaze through it all or whatever. But yeah, I've never been interested in that. I've always I like the social aspect of it.
And at least verbally, I haven't heard too much of that being spoken to. And the fact that it's also your release is interesting because if it's the thing that you use to get away from when you get home, but yet you don't open packs, it's such an interesting dynamic
Yeah,
that you're also have a strong value system behind the fact of how you want to experience opening packs. And so much respect to that, and really admire you for taking that path. I can't
yeah,
say the same, unfortunately.
yeah. Well, you know what?
Can't
That's
say.
now I get most of my enjoyment from Pokemon from the hunt of looking for a good deal or looking for,
Right.
an undervalued card or maybe a cat jump in early on the drop or like
Mm.
something like that. Like that I still find very exciting, and I like looking for cards and I like searching online to see if I can get a good deal. So I do like the hunting part of it, but honestly, it's the community that's what's really, it's kind of switched from like, okay, now it's not just the cards, it's become more than the cards. I mean, the hobbies kind of become a social release as well all of a sudden. So
Right.
now it's not just something I do in a dark room by myself. It's something that I get to watch other people and how they collect, and everyone does it differently. And I really don't think there's a wrong way. I don't think there's a
No,
right
no.
way, and whatever blows your hair back, I think is the right way for you. And
I love that phrase.
yeah,
Whatever
and
blows your
that's,
hair to the back.
yeah.
I gotta write that down. I gotta write that down. That's good. That's a good one. No, I completely agree, and I wasn't insinuating that it was the wrong way at all. But again, I admire it because you prioritize the experience with others, yet you still find a way to use this as a release in the process.
Yeah,
And I think that's very special and unique. Very special.
thank you.
Hey, Chef, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining, and glad you could
Chef
make it.
is here. Chef's kiss
Navy
and
Station,
chef's kiss.
yes, the Chef's Kiss. Anytime I see this, I made a mistake on one of the live streams recently. I saw the Chef's Kiss. I just assumed it was Chef,
Yeah, no, I
and it
seen that.
wasn't.
I actually was watching that.
I
I
said,
seen
"Whoops."
that one. It was funny. I forget who it was now, but yeah, it was someone else in the chat, and they used
Yeah,
the chef's kiss, and you're like, oh, I just
yeah,
thought. See,
yeah. I
that's
just
it.
assumed it was Chef. Like I see
Yeah,
that now, and like if you ever make a brand logo, Chef, you gotta have the hand in your
yeah,
brand logo.
that's it.
Glad
Now
you
you
can
got
make
to
it
pay him
happen.
royalties every time you use it. Now that's it, right?
Exactly. Got Navi Station here as well. I think I mentioned Max Wolf. Thanks for joining, my friend. Always good to see you. Yeah, was last week. Sorry, Rob. All the weeks go together, man. I'm digging deep here on these videos, and it just all blurs together, my friend. Yeah, it was last week. Yeah, you're right. Um, Looking at the other side of this is when you spoke to joining the lives, and you spoke to, like, for example, jumping into Rob's openings. That's the other way that you experience it. And you and I kind of talked about that a little bit. So instead of you opening packs by yourself and you still want to get that engagement from the community and share that experience with others, you'll jump in to people like Rob on Red and Blue and enjoy the experience with the community there.
Yeah, for
Talk a
sure.
little bit about that and why that's as enjoyable, because I think a lot of people struggle at least with the initial idea. And you pointed out a couple of very good things that we'll kind of come back to if you don't touch it already. But people struggle. They say, well, why would you pay somebody else to open a pack for you? And it just doesn't make sense. And I think that's a challenge for people, especially when they enter the
Yeah.
hobby or they're not as experienced in it as probably you are. So maybe if you could share a little bit of your perspective and why you choose to do it that way.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't do it crazy amount by all means. And I, essentially I only open with Rob or with Mason. He always wrecks me, Mason. I always jump in. He'll do his live breaks and just ruin my life every single time. There's only once he opened a good box for me once, but man.
Oh, that's good.
And the other thing I like to, the other reason I joined those for a couple of reasons. I like to open my packs with others, obviously. I like watching other people open packs, and I get excited seeing their excitement, right? If they get a good pull, and like sharing that experience with them, I find that very fun, and I think it goes back to me not opening by myself. I like that communal kind of, you open one, I open one. I like that experience. Um, and then the other thing is just to support the community. I mean, you gotta do your part. You have to help the community stay alive. I mean, you can't just be an idle person and just hope other people push everything through the hole. You got to be an active participant in kind of moving things forward and keeping people going, keeping Mason going, keeping Red or Blue going. These are important things for the future, especially when you see people like authentic people like that. Like, shout out to Mason. I mean, he's such a great gentleman. He's probably, one of the first people, like, other than the big, Lion Leonhard and all those guys I was watching back in the day. Is like I stumbled across like a Mason, and this was way back when it was maybe his first or second video, and I've been watching him ever since. But the like someone like a Mason he's just an authentic and an honest and just a true kind of pillar in the hobby, and
Totally agree.
we have to do our part to support each other and to help each other, and I think the Pokemon community is really good at that, is where people do support each other, and they do try and keep each other standing and going, and there's power in that numbers. You know what I mean? Like, if you do it all on your own, you'll be by yourself in the future because there's no one there to share it with, right? So it's that the community and pushing forward. That's really, I think, what'll keep people engaged in this hobby and keep people in it for years and years to come, and you really build meaningful relationships with each other, and this is something that I think over the span of years to come will only get stronger, will only get better, and helping each other out is how we get there. Especially at first, when we're all starting small, and that's when you're the most delicate, but as you grow and you get stronger, you need less help, you know what I mean? But
Yep. Yeah.
anyway,
What a great answer. What a great answer. And I loved what you touched on earlier too. And I'll kind of weave that in just a little bit here. Again, giving a lot of love here to Rob. When you have those kind of people, and when in talking about buying packs and buy boxes, and kind of revisiting the question of, well, why would I pay somebody to buy a box and have maybe a premium, and then I could just buy it myself and save the money. But having that experience with the community, as you mentioned already, and getting to share that, but then also doing that with somebody you trust and somebody that box was sealed properly. Those packs are not pre-searched and weighed, and
exactly.
those kind of things going into it. And back to your previous point, hey, maybe I can't afford $1,000 booster box, but hey, I can do a pack, and
Yeah.
then you supplement that with some Modern or something like that. These are great ways to get that experience, and then again, enjoy it, support. It's all the pieces are there, and it's something very special when you get to do that. So if you haven't ever tried supporting somebody that you trust, or that you think you can trust because the community there and the people are there, give it a try. You might be surprised that it's quite enjoyable, and it's not as abstract and less enjoyable as you might think if you're used to open it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, fully agree. Brother Brock, good to see you. Just got out of the league. Just got out of the league tournament. I saw your deck on Discord, man. Later on, let us know how it went. I'd love to hear about it, man. Love to hear about it. He was showing us his deck before he went today, so asking some question about what he might want to change out. You know, one of the things we also talked about, Phil, is the perspective of where does this collecting come from? I shared some experiences, you know, on our pre-call about my back end.
Yeah.
And we started to talk through yours, and I was wondering, I was like, hey, did your parents like collect, you know, my grandfather, for example, collected bells. Uh, some of my grandparents collected china and other, you know, vases and special things. And I was curious, like, did you have any of that in your early childhood that kind of inspired you? And then how does that weave into Pokemon?
You know, it's funny when we had our pre-chat. I remember having an epiphany about my mom because you asked me, and I never really thought about that. Like I never really thought of my parents as collectors or if they were. And my dad was definitely not a collector. He was a simple man, hardworking man. You know, he liked good food. He liked his family. He liked his garden. He liked his grass had to be nice. The concrete was spotless. You could eat off the floor in the backyard. You know.
I love that.
But my mom was more of the packer, and I've been thinking about it ever since our conversation that we had, our pre-call, and I've been kind of putting it, and I'm starting to see it more and more as I think about it, because my mom did collect. She collected china, she collected silverware, she collected crystal vases, and my mom was, you know, the kind of lady, if you bought her a really nice sweater, she would put that sweater in a drawer and it would sit there for 20 years and maybe she never ever wear it. And then I started making that connection. That's where I had that epiphany when we talked. Is like, I'm kind of doing what my mom did, right? I get something and I kind of put it away. And she would put it away, and oftentimes with that same mentality that I have, where it wasn't for her, she was putting it away for my sister or for me. And now I kind of drawn it together, and I really see kind of my behavior and my habits as being something kind of that comes from my mom. And it's funny,
it's
you
interesting.
know, yeah, it's weird. It's funny. I've been thinking about it over the weekend, and kind of it's meshing together and making a lot more sense to me now. Where I get it from, because I just don't collect. I collect other things too. Um, I collect comic books. I collect Pearl Jam posters. I collect video game systems. I collect video games. Um, so I do have other things that I like to collect as well. So it's not just Pokemon. It is mainly Pokemon, but I do collect other things. So I do have that bug a little bit in me, and I have had it for a while.
It's amazing what our parents instill in us, and I think we probably did the same thing with our kids. So
Yeah,
that's why I
exactly.
was quite confident, despite my question earlier. I was quite confident that your son will come back when he gets a little bit older and gets his adult money. Um, the thing that you mentioned actually was interesting because I heard the same thing in your 4 hour long, you know, Jeopardy live you did with Professor Oak, and it was really cool because you said, well, actually, I collect video games and consoles, and you mentioned Pearl Jam and memorabilia, and I was like, wow, what else is this guy collecting? So tell us maybe a little bit more. Open the book about what else is in that outside of Pokemon.
Yeah, for
And I want to
sure.
know also why Pearl Jam. There's a
Oh,
good
I've
story there, I'm sure.
I've been loving Pearl Jam since they first came out way back in the day. I remember I had in my room. I didn't have back then. We didn't have headphones, or I didn't really have.
Right.
So I had an alarm clock, and it had the little garbage speaker on it, the shittiest little
Mm-hmm.
speaker.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like a tin can, essentially, playing music through a tin.
Everything was static.
And I remember waiting. They used to do this thing called the Top 10 at 10 on one of the radio stations. Because back
Yep.
then,
Yep.
I didn't have a cassette player, so you'd have to wait and listen on the radio and hope that the song you want to hear comes on. But the top 10 at 10, when you knew that the song you wanted to hear was in the top 10, you at least knew, okay, at 10 o'clock I can hear that song.
That's
And I
awesome.
used to put it on, and I'd have it so quiet, so I didn't, because 10 o'clock my parents were already asleep, right? And I remember listening to Pearl Jam Black, and I fell in love with that
Mm.
song, and still my favorite song. And just been a fan ever since. I mean, a lot of my friends have been into it. I've seen them live. Oh, geez, a bunch of times. Member of their
Awesome.
fan club for
Awesome.
almost 20 years now. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, no, and I collect their posters. And it's funny, their posters, are actually quite expensive now. They're especially the original posters from kind of back in there's a certain period. They had one artist. His name was Brad Clausen, and he's he's actually become quite a famous artist. So those posters that are Pearl Jam posters from Brad Clausen, like he did so many of them that they actually made a book of all the posters he did. Like he did so many of
I
them
didn't
at
know
that
that.
time. And those Brad Clausen posters are can be quite valuable. I have posters that I bought at the concert for 50, $60 at the time, and they're worth like $700-800 now. Some of them.
Wow. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Yeah, I had one. I actually just got a really good deal on one last week. I haven't bought one in years, and I actually just bought one last week. I seen one on auction. It's from Berlin, Germany. It's a really cool one. It's like God and the devil meeting each other, and they're like shaking hands, and it's like and God is like a briefcase that's glowing with money in it, and you can just tell that like a shady deal is about to go down. Anyway, I have that poster
so
from
cool.
years ago, but I seen one online for $200, and it was signed and numbered by Brad Clausen. And I scooped that up right away because those signed and numbered ones go for like $1,000 to $2,000. So I got that poster for a steal. It just came.
You put them on display?
I do. I actually have them around in the first floor of my house. I have a bunch of them up. Yeah, they're really artistic, and they're all very different. Check them out. There you go, especially the older ones.
Look that up.
Yeah, look.
I'm a big Pearl Jam fan. Yeah, so
I'll
definitely have to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love them. I love them. They've been a big part of it.
Be careful, Rob. You might get unsub
chili
here, buddy.
peppers are good too. Chili peppers are good too. At least we don't have to go down the Nirvana Pearl Jam.
No. I don't know though. I think Pearl Jam's got chili peppers in my opinion, but we'll save that for another day, Rob. We'll save that for another day. But tell me some more about the video games. You got some consoles. Like what else you got there in this? I can imagine like a whole suite of this collection. You walk in and the lights come on and the music starts automatically. It's Pearl Jam rocking in the background. Tell us about it.
Console stuff. I have all my original. It was a console called ColecoVision. I don't know if you knew. It was around the same time as the original Atari, and they had the weirdest looking controller. It looked like a phone, and it had like buttons with a number on it. It had like it was the weirdest looking system, and it had like 25 games only, and that was my first system. But I still have that system, and I still have the games for it. And then my next console after that was the original NES. And I still have my original NES, and it still works.
That's awesome.
And we still play games on it, and you still got to do the trick with the Q-tip in the water, a little Q-tip in water.
You gotta blow it. You gotta wave it.
Yeah,
slam it in.
Yeah. So I've made my son play some of those old school games, and we'll sit there about once a year. We'll get going on it, and he gets. It's funny. He's a video game monster. Like Fortnite. He's he could in another year he might go pro. Like he's that.
But he can't beat Mario, can he?
But you put friggin' Mario in there. It has two buttons.
This is too hard, Dad. I can't do this.
He's ready to throw the controller against the wall. Like he just can't handle it. It's funny.
The complexity of holding down A while you run so you can jump further and hit B with the side of your thumb. Like that whole complexity of the thumb movement. Yeah.
And then he watched me do things. He's like, how the hell did you do that? I go, oh, you just do this. So now I feel cool because it's funny. Yeah, he's a gamer. So, but anyway, from there, I started kind of buying systems after that again. And I always keep all my systems and I keep all my games and try to keep them in good shape. So I have literally every console I've ever owned since the ColecoVision I have. And I have bought a few other ones over the years just for collection purposes as well. So that's that. And then comics I started kind of when comics went under a big boom. This was when, the death of Superman, the kind of the new Spider-Man came out during that time period. The comics were very popular at that time. And one of my best friends was a huge comic collector. His whole basement, like he has a room that's like serious collection. So, spending time with him and reading comics. So over the years, I kind of collected comics. It's something I haven't kept up on. I don't buy comics really anymore. I actually it was funny. I had pre-ordered some Lorcana because I wanted to get
Yep.
some Lorcana. And the store that I pre-ordered from, he tried to get a place to become a Play Store so he can get the price. So he never ended up getting the product. And he was one of those guys. So I guess he did a pre-order for all these pre-orders. Now, I guess he spent the money, so he didn't have the money to pay everyone back. So I was dealing with this guy, and I was patient with him. And then I finally just went and I showed up at his store in person in Toronto. His store's in Toronto. So I was visiting my mom who lives in Toronto. And I said, I'm going to go see this guy. And I went in person. And I'm like, we got to figure this out. And then that's it. And so he's like, essentially, you walk around the store and take whatever the hell you want. That's a value of what he owed me. So I ended up getting like graded comics, like which I've never had before. So I have a collection of graded comics all of a sudden, inadvertently. But
okay, well, that's still a good story. That's a good story. I mean, show up there. I could see you walking in the door, bust it open, kick it open with your foot.
I'm like, I want to speak to.
You owe me some money.
Yeah. No, it was good, and I'm like, I apologize. I didn't want to make it awkward for him, and I was very polite and everything, but I was getting nowhere. Like the guy unplugged his phone. Like you would call his business phone, no one would answer it for like weeks on end. You would email him, he wouldn't. It was to the point where it's like I had to escalate it to so I just showed up there, and I'm like, and he as soon as I said my name, he knew exactly who I was and how much
He's like,
and you know what,
this is before or after you jerked him over the counter?
No, I didn't. I had nothing like that. Lucky he was buying this. We were both by ourselves. I didn't bring anyone else with me or make it any weirder than that, but it ended up working out. So now I have some really cool graded comics, which are cool.
Cool, man. Great
They're
story.
huge. They're like, I don't know if you've ever seen a graded comic, but it's like
I've never held one. I've seen it on camera.
It's like a surfboard, man. It's like the size of a laptop. These things are huge.
when you put it all in plastic, man, it doesn't get smaller in size. That's for sure. Chef wants to know what's your favorite Mario game, Felipe?
Oh, Mario 3
3?
That's my favorite one. You can't beat Mario 3. That was the one with the squirrel tail and that one was definitely my favorite. There's been a lot of great ones. I mean, some of the newer ones are pretty cool, but no, Mario 3 is the best one. That's the best one. Has the coolest worlds, and I loved all the little outfits with the different powers they had. That was a fun game.
Walrus, whenever you get a channel, I'm just gonna unsub from it before I sub from it, because that right there that's a definite no. That's a definite no.
Yeah, cheers to Walrus. Always keeping the chat spicy. You gotta love that.
Cheers, Walrus. Thank you, man.
Yeah, last week he was telling me that there's too many happily married people in the hobby. So I said I got to get a divorce by this week.
Exactly. It was. I think you committed to 2 divorces by the time we had this podcast. I'm not
2
sure
divorces, and I had to. What did I say? I had to lose the ranch at the casino.
I'm not sure how far along you got on that goal before you jumped in here today. But
I've been too busy. I haven't been able to.
Sorry, Walrus. Couldn't make it, man. Couldn't make it. Yeah, but for sure, lots of love to you, Walrus, man. One of the things that's curious to me too, because you have quite the collection, I would assume, and it probably takes up a lot of space. Are you investing in some insurance to protect this investment that you built up over the years? Do you have something really dedicated to protect it?
I've definitely been starting to think about that. It's been in the back of my mind. I haven't made the move for it yet, and I've done a little bit of research on it, but it's kind of hard to really find or to understand it. I don't know if you have any insights onto that. I definitely would be all ears. But it's getting to the point now where it's like, okay, I might need to do something into that regard. But it's definitely been something that's kind of been rolling in the back of my mind. And now looking back and thinking about it, it's to the point where, but it's funny. I haven't heard a lot of people in the space kind of talk about that. Yeah. So I kind of wonder, what what the deal
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it's when it's brought up, it's usually in the context of business, right? So owning a Pokemon business and trying to make sure your investment there is protected. But yeah, I would say that a lot more of the standard insurance companies are starting to offer collections insurance. And obviously, as you, I'm sure, know quite well, probably more than I, anytime you can bundle some of that with your home and your car, then
Yeah,
obviously that's a positive thing. So check with the one you already have. But
yeah,
they do actually have ones that are dedicated to selling some collector's insurance. So I can share a few with you in Discord after this and give you a couple of links and check it out. See what's available in your
yeah,
area. And but yeah, once you
yeah.
get up there and some of the numbers, you make sure that a life event or some natural disaster doesn't come
Yeah,
up
that's
and you
right. A fire or whatever, anything can
yeah,
happen, right?
yeah.
So yeah, no, I've definitely been thinking about that, and it is something I'm going to have to kind of make a move on there.
Rob says people don't steal in Canada.
Yeah, yeah, right.
You don't have to worry
Well,
about that.
well, I'm lucky. I do live remote. I don't live anywhere like I could, I can barely see my neighbor's house. Like I have a 3 acre property, and so I am kind of secluded. So it's not like people walking around my house very often, or but still, that said, it doesn't matter. You never know, right?
You, I mean, I'd probably be more worried about a pipe bursting in the ceiling and dropping into the
Yeah. No, I
into the
agree.
collection room. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. I'd be more worried about that, or like a fire or something like that. That'd be something. It's funny. I remember we were having dinner maybe a few months ago, and we were talking about like, about a fire or whatever. And I was like, I looked at my family very seriously. I'm like, get the animals out, then the Pokemon. All right. And then I'm like, no, I'm kidding. And then I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. Seriously, get the Pokemon.
It's like, start on the left. That's where the oldest stuff is, and then work your way to the right until you start to feel the flames touch your skin. Then get out.
Oh man.
Oh, good stuff, man. Uh, One of the great comments that you made when we were talking is that I said, "Hey, how long do you plan to be in the hobby for? Do you foresee yourself getting out someday in the future?" And your answer was quick and swift, and it was, "I'm a lifer. Like
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
here for
in.
the
Yeah,
rest, right?
yeah, I'm in it now. That's it.
Too deep,
I don't
too
think I've
deep."
ever been as deep into any hobby as I have Pokemon, and I fell in love with it. I mean, I love it. I love the art. I love the community. I love the experience of everything. I love the characters. I love
Hmm.
everything about it. And yeah, I don't see myself going anywhere. I mean, I've been in it now for multiple years, and if anything, my interest continues to grow.
Right, right. Yeah, I would echo the same thing, and I like it at this point because now I get to perfectly weave in the analogy, or at least the idea of your son not valuing Pokemon in the future. You have this massive collection, and you kind of made an insinuation at some point where you said, "Well, one day I kind of fantasize if I ever retire, I could just open up a table at the local store or something and sell some Pokemon for fun."
Yeah, yeah.
You
Maybe
know,
hit the flea markets around the town. You know what I mean? Like, come around with or maybe get like a mobile Pokemobile,
yep,
like a food truck, but a Poke truck, and drive around town.
exactly.
And
Exactly. Like,
who
oh yeah,
knows?
it's funny you mentioned that. I forget it was a while back. It was earlier last year. I mentioned this. Oh, it was with Brian at Poke Annie, and I was mentioning the same thing. He was actually talking about how he felt crazy for thinking about having like a mobile unit, and it was funny because that exact same week I was looking at prices to do the same thing. Like drive up, have like a larger, larger than normal ice cream truck or something like that, a food truck, and you're selling Pokemon cards. What better way to do it? What better way?
Yeah,
Show up, be where you want to be. Again, good insurance, but other than that,
yeah,
yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be
yeah.
fun.
And that way you can pick and choose where you go, and you can
Hmm.
kind of like if you could get in the parking lot of like a frigging Collecticon or something like that, you probably could do pretty well.
Exactly.
The other way
Piggy
is it
back
like
up.
you see them a lot in China, but like Pokemon vending machines.
Hmm.
I wonder like what the requirements would be to have a vending machine set up with maybe some graded cards and singles and packs in it, and have a bunch of those spread around town. You'd probably do pretty good.
Rob says we're going to see this on Dateline. Start playing the music to draw on the kids. You got Pokemon cards. Yeah, this doesn't sound good. Reminds me of that episode of Big Bang Theory where they were trying to get people to the comic book store to help them out because the comic book store in Big Bang Theory was going to shut down. And I forget whose idea it was. I think it was Sheldon's. But Sheldon's idea was to get an ice cream truck and play music and lure the kids in. And it's like, do you hear what you're saying? You want to play music to get kids into your car? Like this is not a good idea. Not a good idea.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Rob gets it. Rob gets it. Yep. He knows the episode I'm talking about. Oh man, this is good stuff. I'm enjoying it. One of the really nice things, and I think Chef is gonna love this. I love the fact that there's so many chefs in the hobby. And when we talked about your background and kind of where you started out in terms of some of the education you were doing early on in your career, you were actually a chef. You went to Culinary Institute of New York for 3 years. So tell us a little bit about that and the journey you were going on in your early chef years.
Yeah. Well, I started cooking when I was 17 years old. I started at a steakhouse. I applied actually to be a waiter, and they're like, "Oh, you're too young to be a waiter." I'm like, "Well, what is it?" They're like, "You can work in the kitchen," and I'm like, "All right." So I went, and I ended up staying there for 3 years with them. And busy. It was a keg. I don't know if you have kegs in the States or not, but it's a steakhouse.
Okay.
And busy place, man. We'd be rocking. You do 600-700 covers on Saturday night for dinner. It was a busy place. So I learned how to rock and roll in there, and I took to it. I was good at it. I liked. It's funny, and different people, and it's funny. There are quite a few chefs and a lot of hospitality people, just in general. People who've worked in restaurants, just in general, front of the house or back of the house. I've noticed in Pokemon for some reason, but when you're in the heart of that really busy time in the restaurant, some people can't function under it, and some people can just frantically get through it. And I found the busier and the more hectic it is, the more focused I become. And that there's something about the way I handle that pressure that suits my personality, or it just suits my nature. So I was good at it. And because of that, I kind of went on from there, and I kind of cooked at different places for a few years, and then I was probably around 21, and then I just finished college.
Okay.
And I was cooking. I'm like, what? If I'm gonna do this cooking stuff, I'm gonna do it properly. So I'm gonna go to school. So at that time, I made the decision to go to the Culinary Institute of America there in Hyde Park in New York, and that's probably one of the best cooking schools in the States. It's one of the only cooking schools in North America that offers a degree, like where you get a degree, not just a certificate. It's like a university program essentially. And I did 3.5 years at that school, and you learn everything there. You learn everything from cooking every type of cuisine to butchering to you name it. They teach you to be a professional waiter. They teach you about wine. They teach you accounting. So it's a pretty intense program. And I got to live in New York, which was great. And then you get a chance to do an externship, they call it, where you have to go and work in a place. So because of that, I ended up moving out to California for almost 9 months. I was out there. I lived in Lake Tahoe in the mountains, and I worked in a beautiful hotel out there. It's the resort at Squaw Creek, which is a very, very high end hotel, and got to work through there. And California was definitely cool. Lake Tahoe is absolutely beautiful. And it's funny, I went there with some of the guys from my school. So there's like 5 of us. We went all together, and they were New York. They were real New Yorker guys. 2 of them were from New Jersey, and I'm from Toronto. And I was a downtown Toronto kid. So we were definitely city slickers from the east side, and we stuck out in California like sore thumbs. But but it was kind of fun. We were all walking around with our leather jackets and slicked up hair, and like they're like, "Who the hell are these freaking guys?" But
We're the chefs.
yeah,
Step aside. Step
yeah,
aside.
yeah, and then that's it. And then I worked at some great properties after I graduated from school. When you do your visa in the States, you get 1 year to work as long as you work in the field that you studied.
Okay.
So I got to hang around in New York. I worked another year. Worked at some great places, and then that's it. My visa was up. I had to come back to Canada, and I did at that point. Came back. I kind of got right back into the kitchen. There was a restaurant opening downtown Toronto.
Okay.
They were still building it at that time, so I was part of the original crew that essentially opened that restaurant, and I worked there for a few months. But as I was working there, I said, you know what, I'm going to keep going to school. So I ended up applying to university, and I took hospitality and tourism. It's another 4-year program, and where you get another Bachelor of Commerce, so you get a business degree. So I have 2 degrees in one culinary arts and the other one in hospitality and tourism, and then from there I kind of hit my crossroad where it was like, I was offered 2 jobs. One was front of the house and one was back of the house, and I ended up going for the one that was front of the house because it was a cool experience. It was a management training program where you got to kind of work through the entire property. It was a private club, very high-end private club in Toronto. And I got to work in every single department: housekeeping, accounting, HR, you name it. Like I did everything. So it's like getting paid to go to do another year of school. And I couldn't turn down that opportunity. And it's funny, if I would have taken, I probably still would be a chef if I probably would have taken, that was my crossroads. And then from there, I've been managing hospitality organizations for years. I'm, working as a director in high-end hotels. I was a hotel general manager for a while, and I'm director of multiple location properties, and now I'm working at a high-end resort with one of my colleagues, and we run a resort up here in Muskoka. Really nice one.
Yeah, I think if I didn't get it wrong in my research, it's like a director of events and outside something or another.
Yeah, outside
like
venues. Yeah, that was. I'm not there now. That's where I was, but that's a JW Marriott. It's one of the biggest hotels in Muskoka, which is where I live in that region. Beautiful, beautiful hotel. But yeah, they run a beast of an operation there. It's a $10 million F&B operation there.
Wow.
It's JW is a very high-end brand for the Marriott. That's their highest end. So it's wear a suit every day to work kind of place, and that's it. I was running a team there of like 140 people. I was running there.
Ooh. Yeah. Ooh, no small task, man. No sleep on that one.
No, it's busy place. Now where I work now is it's a little bit different. It is very high end as well. But it's seasonal, so it's only open from middle of May till about October, and then the rest of the year I work from home. So I get a good balance now in the job.
Yeah. So it goes from crazy to quiet, to quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
Chef says, other chef that is, Filipe, do you think culinary schools oversell students on false dreams? For example, you don't graduate and you're automatically a chef like people think.
No, you don't. Yeah, no. And it's funny. The kids, everybody they want to skip the hard work part and go right to the finish line. This new generation of kid really is more interested in the finish line than they are the race. But life is more about the race because there is no finish line. Right?
It's about the process.
And when you get to the finish line, you don't want to get to the finish line because that's it. You're 6 feet under, right? Yeah. So
exactly.
No, do they oversell it? They do. They kind of glorify the industry a little bit. I mean, it has changed. It is a little bit better than it used to be. I mean, the hospitality industry, I've been in it for many, many years. I mean, you figure that's 30 years now I've been in this business. And, I remember the old days, and the old days were a lot different. They were fun, they were hard work, but they were different. You had to watch out. It would be very common to see a chef just lose his friggin' mind. He'd be, or drinking. I remember seeing Chef, it'd be 11 o'clock, and right on the dot, a server would come with his triple friggin' scotch, and he'd be go every single day. He'd be going right as soon as 11 o'clock came, he had his friggin' triple scotch, and by the time you got to the end of the day, he was usually pretty wild. He was a wild guy, but it has changed a little bit. The hospitality, especially after COVID really did a number on our industry. Hospitality got beaten up super bad, and we lost a lot of great people in the industry. The people that I worked with over the years, a lot of them exited the industry and never came back. So now it's funny that the kids, as much as we say we promise them, now we need them. We need those kids now. We're at the point where we gotta start building. We got to start building back up, because business is starting to come back to normal, which is great. But we got to start building the industry again. But we made all the mistakes. We underpaid and overworked all these people for so many decades. That's why everyone left the industry. And now it's time to start treating it just like every other job, where you got benefits and you get proper raises all the time, and your pay is based on a structured system, not just whatever the friggin' weird restaurant owner decides he wants to pay you. Like you got to start turning it more professional in the way we treat people and the way we handle people. It's the only way this industry is going to survive in the future, because no one's going to want to work in it.
Yeah, he says super hard to get that exec chef spot.
Oh yeah,
but it's not about making; it's about maintaining it.
Yeah, and it's funny, and you work so hard to get there, and then you get there, and you're like, well, why the hell did I do this? It's so hard. Chefs work the hardest. Like, I respect Chef, because I know he's there and he's doing, and I know what he's doing, and it's not an easy job. It's a high stress job. The pay can be good. The pay, executive chef, that's when you finally start making the money. Executive chefs do get paid quite a bit, but they should be, because they really do put their heart and soul into their jobs. They have to, because it's not just about all the things they have to worry about. They have to motivate that team and get that team pumped and ready and excited to be there. And we're also very bad at the hospitality industry has kind of we kind of attract misfits, especially a little bit in the kitchen too. So you get a lot of people that can be a little bit more difficult to manage as well. It's a tough gig. It's a tough gig.
That's why Chef motivates all his employees with Pokemon cards.
Yeah, no, I heard about it. He hides them around the restaurant and all that. That's really cool.
I love it.
Yeah, no, he had great energy. I love seeing Chef. He was so energetic when he was on.
Yeah, with Bierski. Yeah, that was a great episode. Yeah. Shout out to Bierski. If you haven't
seen what's Walrus saying here?
If you wouldn't mind, Zach, drop a link for Bierski's podcast. If you guys haven't checked that out, please do so. It's good stuff. Yeah, Walrus is saying the hotel is dark and never again. Working Thanksgiving days is tough.
Yeah, I know Walrus has some background in hospitality too. You can tell. But a lot of people do. Professor Oak used to be a chef. He used to run a restaurant as well.
Yeah.
Love
the chefs in the Pokemon space.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I don't understand why, but there's something to it. I don't know.
Well, let's see if there's anything here regarding that. But yeah, abusing dishwashers. Yeah. I mean, it's about the teamwork and really taking care of your people, no matter what job it is, what career it is, what industry it's in. You don't take care of the people, you won't keep them, and you don't build that camaraderie. You don't build that teamwork, and you don't get good people.
Dishwashers, I always took care of. My dishwasher used to eat better than whoever the big boss was at the time. You got to take care of your dishwashers. That's a tough gig. Thankless too. It's just friggin', and then some of the front of the house just throwing plates at you, and
it really happens. It really happens.
The chef running in, he's like, "I need more of this plate," and he's like, "Where are these plates anymore? Right now."
That's what Chef does, but he pulls like a coal trainer on, and he just throws Pokemon cards at people and hits them. Yeah, it was Bierski's podcast. If you can hook that one up in the chat, I would appreciate it, Zach. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that was a great one. You definitely should watch that if you haven't seen it. It's a great one.
For sure. Looking at this, now you're Are you still at Marriott, or you moved to a different one?
Now
Because
I'm
you
at
said it
a
was your old.
yeah, that was my old one. I just didn't
Okay.
update my LinkedIn, but now I'm at a place called Port Cunnington, which is an old resort here in Muskoka. So it dates back to the 1890s. This place, like really
Oh
old.
wow. Okay.
But I worked in private clubs for many years, like private golf clubs. I ran a lot of them for many years. That's kind of the bulk of my career was in the private club industry. And one of the private clubs, it was the kind of the first club I worked. It was the first job I worked at when I moved to Muskoka because I lived in Toronto for the bulk of my life. I was a city boy. Um, and we started raising a family there. And my wife was a small town girl, and she bugged me for years to make the move. And my son was finally at that age where it's like, okay, well, if the long term plan is to move out of the city, let's do it now before he gets too into the school system, and then he's not going to want to leave his friends. And it's hard to kind of move them once they get past a certain age. So I'm like, all right,
Agreed.
so we hit that age where it's like it's now or never, and that's it. We did it. We made the jump, and we just went in at first. And the first job I got up here was a private club, very high end one of the probably top 20 in Canada. And then that club was owned by one gentleman, very, 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 very wealthy man. So this resort I work at now is owned by that same gentleman. So I already have a
Okay.
history with him. Um,
He he's got you.
and
Okay.
I have a trust level with him, and that he owns. He's an American man, and he comes up. He's only here for 3 weeks a year, and that's essentially like
Mm,
his cottage. All his family come from all around the world. They all meet at this resort, and then the rest of the year
nice.
they just run it as a resort for just to keep the place up and running, right? But very high end cottages and expensive too there, but. Yeah, so I've been there now for
Okay.
a couple of years.
Okay. And are you still leading over the events and kind of outside venues type of thing? Or are you more like a general
Yeah,
director
I
of the
know
business?
everything. I do everything.
Okay,
I
everything.
manage everything essentially, the full operation from like
Okay.
even my front desk manager was on vacation. I've been doing the front desk for for the last few weeks. Would cover the desk while she's gone because in the winter there's only probably three of us that are full year
Yeah.
round, and
Okay.
then we essentially have to hire an entire team to get through summer. So now it's
Wow.
hiring time.
Wow.
So I actually was just at a job fair yesterday. Um,
And that's tough because then you got to retrain. All,
yeah,
hopefully, you get some people to return back,
yeah,
but obviously, you have a lot of new people as
yeah,
well. And having to train all those people every
yeah.
year.
That's the Muskoka
Wow.
model up here. That's kind of the way we operate up here. And but the thing is, we're great for university students because university students here they finish in May and they usually don't go back till like September, and that kind of fits our season perfectly. So we really focus on university students, trying to get
Okay.
ones especially that are studying to be a chef or to studying just to be in hospitality in general.
Our business. Yeah.
And then we try to have some really good core mature people. Like you need to have a
Right.
core, right? And then you complement them with the young kids. And you know, the resort I work at is quite remote, so a lot of them have to live on site. So we have staff housing from there for them, and it's kind of that
Oh,
model.
wow. Okay.
But that's a very similar model to what a lot of properties in Muskoka do because we have a very long winter in Muskoka.
Mm,
Probably starts in November. Sometimes it'll be the end of April, and we still got snow on the ground.
okay.
But then it gets really nice really quickly, and it's when the summer comes. There's no better place that you want to be than in Muskoka because it's summer wonderland up here. There's just so much to do up here in the summer.
Hmm.
Trails and lakes and just lakes upon lakes upon lakes. There's so much to do up here. It's beautiful up here.
That's interesting how it changes the model so much, but it's really nice that you actually offer on-site living and kind of make it somewhat I'm sure attractive in that regard. It being
Yeah,
an upper end hotel or resort that really changes things a lot. So it's
yeah.
probably a really great experience for the people who come in for that
Oh, for
season.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it is. They fight sometimes. And at first it's all real fun. And then usually by the middle of the summer, they start to get a little bit of people kind of going at each other because they see each other too much. Because they see each other when they live in their apartment,
Yeah.
and then they go to work, and those same people are there too, right? So you're
Yeah, it's
with
like,
these people like
get out of here.
24/7. And then
Yeah.
but the good thing is, because the property is quite large, we have beaches just for them. Like, they have a beach, they can go jump in the
Nice.
water on their days off. They can use the tennis courts, they can use the basketball courts, even the gym that we have there. They're welcome to use that on their days off.
Okay.
So they almost live on a resort, essentially, to a certain degree
That's
too.
nice.
So it's
That's
pretty
nice.
cool. It's a cool gig for a university student looking to have a cool experience for a few months. It's a good gig.
It sounds a lot better than the barracks in the military. I tell you that much. A
For
lot
sure.
better. Yeah. Well, that's good. And when I think about this, Felipe, I also think about what it means for you to be successful in what you do. Obviously, in your previous role, but I'm sure much of the same thing here, covering all the different positions, making sure the business is moving forward. In the case of your past role, probably looking at ensuring you're fulfilling events, getting the right vendors in, obviously the customers that are purchasing that are satisfied with it. What would be kind of the mixture that you would say makes that a successful job for you? When do you say, hey, you know what, that year was a good year for us? So I'm sure it's
You,
much more than the balance sheet. It's not
you
just about
you mean
P&L.
business wise, or are you talking more like bottom line, or are you talking more
I'm
about
talking from your
experience?
perspective as a director. When you say,
Yeah,
hey, pats on back to myself,
yeah,
that was a good year. We killed it.
yeah.
What's that kind of metrics of success you look at?
Well, a good metric of that success is obviously financial statements are obviously a good indicator. Um, you it's such a tough industry. Your margins are very, very small. Um, you know, it's better when there's lodging involved. Like, if you're just a restaurant, it's very hard to make money. But once you become a lodging organization, like a hotel or resort, you have the room revenue. Room revenue is very good margin. So you kind
Okay.
of make your money in the rooms. If you can pack the rooms, you generally will come straight. Uh, because F&B alone, like a standalone restaurant, it's very tough to make money. Um,
Mm.
or you got to work quite hard if you do. You got to essentially do everything yourself. Uh, uh, but how do I judge my success? I judge my success by, like, especially on my seasonal properties, how much returning staff I get. I know I did a good
Mm.
job if the more staff I
I
have
like
that
that.
come back to me the next year, I know I'm doing something right. Because if the staff are happy, your customers will be happy. If your customers are happy, they're going to come back. If they keep coming back, you're going to make money. One follows the other, and it all starts. I service the staff. My staff service the customer. So I'm their support system. And I have to make sure they're happy and they're comfortable and they feel appreciated, because if they do and they like being at work, authentically like being there and enjoy being there and have fun there,
Right.
it'll show. You can tell when someone's having fun, or you can tell when someone's like just like miserable. You can see it. Like,
Right.
even if it's an experience. You're very close to the customer, especially your front line, your waiters. I mean, they're essentially right beside these guys. So you can tell body language tells a lot, right? So you want a
It
happy
does.
staff. Happy staff, will make happy customers.
Happy
That's the way
business.
I see it. And honestly, if they come back, that means they're making money. That means they enjoyed it. And it's great if they come back, because there's less training, and the ones you do
Right.
bring in, they get better quicker, because the
Yeah.
stronger
More
your
people.
core is, the better and then you could really start building momentum forward from there.
And what a beautiful way, and I'll kind of echo a few things here. For example, Ryan says, "What an interesting way to measure success," and I love that model. And I think even Chef 954 said something similar in
Yeah.
the podcast with Beersky. Measuring that success, starting with yourself, and then moving to the next layer out, which is your team, and then letting that service the customer, letting that service the business, letting that turn into return customers and longer term business. It's such a great way to look at the business model. And I think it focuses on what's most important. And I've always said, if you do those things, the numbers usually work out. If all those things are going really well, you typically don't see a business that's hemorrhaging money. You typically see a successful business. And I think Chef, echoes that. That's right. Team first. Team
Yeah,
first.
chef knows.
Yeah.
Chef knows.
Yeah. Note to self promoter like Chef. I just won't say names out of respect. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Team team home life for your team is 1,000. Yeah. Yeah. 10,000 important for the work. Yeah. Fully agree. Good stuff, guys. And Chef definitely agreed when you were talking about the point of being just a restaurant and being hard to be profitable without the rooms and the hotel and the lodging. He's like, yeah, 100%. It's definitely a challenge for any restaurant. And I've talked to a few people I've seen and known that own restaurants or manage them. The profit margins in those are so small,
They're
and
minimal. It's minimal.
I mean, a couple of things go wrong. You're not getting through the food in the right amount of time. You start losing things out of the freezer. Like you're in trouble. Like it's not gonna go well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, you're walking a tightrope in that business. It used to be better in the older days. Now food's getting too expensive. It's funny, the cost of wages, the cost of food, the cost of hydro, the cost of gas, like all this stuff has gone up and up and up and up. Um, but we can't raise the prices that fast as all the costs have gone up. If we rose the prices to match, like no one would go to your restaurant. It would cost them 100. You know what I mean? Like you'd be too expensive. You'd never be able to compete with them. And then what makes it even more challenging is all these corporate kind of chain restaurants, because they have such purchasing power. They that's how they make their money. They lower their costs through the purchasing power, right?
mass purchase.
Um, and a small restaurant, you just can't compete with these guys, and so you'll never be able to compete with those guys on price. So you got to compete with them a different way, and then that's where you got to have something that's very creative, or you got to do something that's really executed perfectly for people to get excited to come to you or have a good buzz there. That's kind of your only way to, busy restaurant makes money.
And I think this is a great quote here from Walrus. A good restaurant runs well when you're making people around you better. If everyone does that, it's paradise.
Oh yeah. The way I see it, if I'm not having fun at work, I'm doing something wrong. I like to look forward to go to work and be happy to see everyone there, and I like to have fun. I'm kind of I'm young at heart, and I'm the kind of person that likes to muck around and have a good time with people and joke around. And I like to promote that with the rest of the staff. And I think that kind of ability for people to be themselves and to have fun and to be respected at the same time, I think is the key.
Valuable. What would you say is one of your biggest lessons, in your career so far, moving through this, obviously taking many different roles, many different experiences? What's been one of your biggest lessons learned as you went through business and kind of where you sit today?
Yeah. Don't let yourself get stale, I think, is the main thing. If you're starting to feel like you're getting stale, you got to keep it moving. I mean, people that are really in this industry, like someone like myself, it's a creative industry. Like chefs, the creativity is kind of the driving force for a lot of them. And then that's kind of the saving grace of why they do what they do. So you have to keep yourself kind of doing things that excite you and pushing yourself to do things that are exciting. Because if they excite you, you can excite the staff. And it's that same cycle, Like if I could get the chef to get excited about a dish, and I get excited about it when I see it, he does a great job, and the waiters come and they look and they learn about it, and maybe it's a cool ingredient and they get excited about it. And then when they go to the table, they tell it's that same process. You try and push the energy out that you want to come back to you, and it has to if it's just a cookie cutter, every day's the same day, there's nothing to it. You got to keep the juices flowing. You got to be inventive. You got to be creative. You got to keep challenging yourself to do something different, and not just say, oh, you know what, I've been making this for dish or this cocktail, or this wine on the list is it's my best seller. It's been my best seller for 20 years, so I'm never going to change. You got to keep it moving. You got to keep it interesting. It's an experience. It's like anything else. You got to keep it fresh. Same, let's draw back to Pokemon. You've got to, Pokemon, if they just kept releasing sets with the same cards in it, it would get boring. You got to push it, you got to push it forward. You got to do friggin' break cards. You got to do, you got to do things that are different to keep it interesting and keep challenging yourself. And you know what? You fail sometimes, but sometimes you succeed as well. Let's do it. Let's start it. Let's go retrospect. Let's do a restaurant. We can do a high-end restaurant.
Big food lover. He loves cooking. It's one of the things he enjoys.
Nice.
And I think it was in a recent podcast, me and Chef were chatting, and he said, let's start a restaurant. I said, give us a good name. It was with Rob. And I said, give us a good name, Chef. And so it's going to be Canto. That's the name of the restaurant.
Oh, that's a great name, actually. Yeah, that would work.
All right, we got a house full of chefs here, everybody. So now
Canto Cantina. There you go, Canto Cantina.
And now we got Walrus managing the front. Looks like he's.
Oh, there we go, topless. So now we're talking business. Now we know what's going on. The champagne.
You don't need rooms. You don't need rooms at that point.
Well, then you got to have rooms too. Then now you start to.
Well, that's a different kind of business.
Yeah, that's a different kind of restaurant.
That's not a restaurant anymore.
You'll still be cooking in there, that's for sure.
You're cooking something. Good stuff. Good to see you, Retro. And again,
this made a left turn quickly.
No, yeah, well, leave it to Walrus.
Leave it to Walrus. Yeah. Well, at least we have someone to blame. That's good.
That's right. Thanks for staying on top of all the channels and the links here, R&D, and I appreciate you dropping the link for Beer Ski the Walrus. Always supporting everybody else. Yeah.
Shout out to
Good to see you, Basic.
Yeah, that's great.
Basic's gonna make the polls. Got it. We got it all worked out. We got the whole thing, and we'll have like a Pokemon section somewhere in the front before you get to the drinks. Yeah, perfect.
You could do a high-end Pokemon lounge. That would be fun, but you'd need to be in the right market there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where the location would be.
Yeah, I don't know where the location would be either. That would be a tough one.
I love it, man. This is good stuff. You mentioned earlier, Phil, that I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that your venture down the YouTube rabbit hole for Pokemon was really at the time of the pandemic. And that's when you kind of stumbled onto Mason. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I kind of, my YouTube kind of story was very similar to a lot of people. We were stuck at home. Kind of, that was my hobby. That's what I was doing. And, that's what I was interested in. I was watching, the Lean Hearts and the Breaking Nates and all those guys. And those guys are great. And they do a great thing. But it's like, then I kind of stumbled down into this rabbit hole where kind of we were all kind of hanging out now. And it was still in its infancy at that point, and that's when, kind of started with Mason. And then as I started watching Mason, I started getting different types of people coming into my feed, like different types of stuff that maybe never would have came in my feed before now came in. And that's another big one that I started with was PK. I mean, when PK started, I was watching him back, when he was still it was just memes and, you didn't know, he had no idea, he just sounded like a 15-year-old boy was talking about Pokemon for an hour. And then I remember his face reveal, and it was like, oh my God, he's a tank. And I was like, we're like PK's good. And it's funny, and it's fun. Now I look back in those days, and I can't picture the meme days anymore. But yeah, and then from there it just built. This community kind of built from there. I mean, you had your Professor Oaks and your basic trainers, and they all kind of started making their own channels from there. And then it just evolved. And then we started, PK would bring on Dan, and now Dan kind of becomes part of the and it just all meshed together into this community now where everyone's kind of supporting each other and honestly, really. My favorite part of Pokemon now is this community and being part of it and interacting with all these people that I've been interacting with many of them for many years now. If I didn't live in Canada and I was a little bit closer, and I'm very busy when all those collecticons were, but I'd love to come and meet all these people in person and show up there. I'd love to, maybe me and Shovels can Chevels can we'll rent a car and we'll drive down, and you can drive down from from Quebec and come pick me up, and we'll go
Perfect.
catch a Collecticon one of these days. I'd love to, but a lot of them are in those summer months, and come that summer months, I'm busy as hell, and it's hard for me to
Right.
get. But now in the winter, when I have all the time in the world, I can go to every Collecticon in the world now. But there's none. There's none around.
Yeah.
So it's this weird thing. But
Nothing but
eventually,
the
one day, I definitely on my bucket list to go down and meet. But I got to wait for the right one at the right time. And but there's so many people I'd love to sit around and have a few beers with and just
We'd love to have you here, Phil.
yeah,
Love to
man.
have you, man.
Yeah.
Waller says he's all set on Dan. Let's move on. Let's move
Okay.
on. Next. Thinking back to that time, and it's great that you got to see the evolution. I like how you mentioned it. You're talking about its infancy of the hobby when he first kind of came in terms of the YouTube space and to the
Yeah.
different content creators versus where we are today. What kind of drew you into them? Why did you keep going? What was so attractive about that? Having just came from whatever the time frame was, a couple of years with your son, opening packs, doing some initial collecting. What really connected you with that and made you say, hey, you know what? I want to keep watching this. Let me go further.
Well, initially, if I had to peg it to something, it was say it's somewhat entertaining watching the pack breakers and all, like the opening, like people opening packs. But that gets old pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then because I didn't really have that history in the hobby where I grew up with it, I needed to catch up and learn about it, right? So I loved watching these more long form content because you'd learn so much about sets maybe that I was never really exposed to when I wasn't around when they existed, and hearing people talk about them and talk about, you know, what they do and how they interact and how they collect, and then to me, I found it so shocking when I'd find these people that are so passionate about Pokemon, and they're like, "Yeah, well, I don't open packs." Like, what do you do? What do you do then? Like, what are you doing? Like isn't that what you're supposed to do? But it's like, and I found it so strange. But it's now I understand it. But at that point, it was so new to me, and I was learning. I wanted to learn as much as I could about it because I was really interested in it, right? And hearing people that have been in the industry and been in the hobby for many, many years and hearing their experiences and their stories, I found very valuable. And then next thing you know, you start interacting on the chat, you break the ice and you get yourself out there. And I'll talk to all you lurkers out there. Don't be shy. Put a comment in there. It's fun. Really does make it fun. It enriches the experience of what you're doing there. And that's it. Over time, you start to get to know each other, and you comment against each other. And then next thing you know, you're more excited to hang out in the chat than you are about what they're talking about on the screen. You know what I mean? You're paying more attention to the chat than whoever's telling stories on the screen. And
you must be talking about Dan's lives.
Yeah. Poor Dan. I give Dan a hard time too, but I love him too. But
I'm kidding. We love
I hate
Dan.
I don't want to turn into that. I don't want to ever be that guy that just totally shuts it off and just says, it's all business. That's
no, yeah. I was just talking, to that same point with IFOMO here just yesterday and day before. There's things and ideas that I have in this space that I see there's a gap or a need, and hey, I could do something in that space. And I told him, I said, I have to be careful because if I do that and I go down that path, it'll consume me, and I won't find the joy that I still have in the hobby today and with my kids and my wife. And because if I do those things, take it to that level, I'll go all in, and I know myself. I won't stop. So, in a good way for business, but in a bad way for enjoyment, right? So,
then you're going to need a different hobby, right? Because if you turn your hobby into work, then it's not. I don't know. And there is a balance. There's a way to, and many people find a balance to it, and obviously interacting in the hobby is great, but. That's it. Everyone does it their own way, and whatever works for you. But there's definitely money to be made out there.
I'll create a second channel just so you can sub to that one, and we'll show double support. But I think Retro's offended. He said, "Don't slander my father."
Yeah, watching
No,
Retro's really grown his business too. I've seen him.
yeah, he's done awesome.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
done
he's
really
been
well.
killing it.
Yeah, and
2023
honestly,
was a
I,
great
I
year.
was watching you when you were on Northwood's channel a couple of days ago. I was there live very shortly, but I watched it after the fact, and I was amazed that you really have a big part of what you do in the hobby as well. Is like your store's pretty big. You got thousands and thousands of cards running out there, and I didn't know that about you, and then it was really interesting to hear how kind of you manage it. Um, and I liked hearing your very like it kind of you had kind of the way the system works for you, and it has to fit in that system. And if it doesn't fit in that system, you don't play that game. And
Right.
and that's how you can keep it simplified enough and streamlined enough that you can still maintain a full-time job without having to complicate things more and more and more by diversifying.
Exactly right.
So
And, and it
I
also
found it very
doesn't.
interesting what you do. I think it's really cool.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's been an interesting journey. To your point, it's trying to find that balance and that desire to keep it automated to the point where I can still enjoy it and really still participate in the hobby and
Yeah,
be excited to open some new packs with the kids on Pokemon Friday, whatever it is. I want to keep that because
yeah,
that's one of the things I keep telling myself as I go through this journey. Because as I said before, I kind of go all in on things. Is I don't want to forget why I started. I
yeah.
started to enrich my experience with the kids and bond and enjoy that. And I don't want to let the business side take over, let something else,
Yeah.
take priority and lose that connection I get with my kids. So,
But it's still
um,
smart. And honestly, I think about it all the time. Like sometimes I'm like, you know what, I should start selling to help supplement the hobby. But it's as soon as I start thinking about like, okay, well, what am I going to sell? I'm like, I don't want to sell that. I want to keep it. So uh, yeah, it's
I
tough.
know.
But I
I
get
know.
it though, and it's wiser to do kind of what you do. Where there's a balance. I like it's wiser. It's more financially wise. Um, but the way I collect, I don't, I have a decent career. My wife has a decent career. I don't, I'm pretty good at controlling myself and not, going overboard. Um, and that's it. So, I do it slowly, and then it's kind of just like any other hobby. You go
Yep.
golfing, you pay for $300 for a round of golf. At the end of the
Right.
day, you have nothing left anyway. It is what it is. Like I live
At
in,
least you get,
there's guys up here with like these, friggin' $250,000 speedboats, and they zip around the lake, and they spend in one day they'll spend $600 in gas zipping around in their speedboat on the lake. It's like, what do they get for that? They get the
yeah,
experience, right? That's the way
exactly.
I see it. So
Fully agree. And at least for ours, we also get to take something home, right? We
yeah,
we
that's
have the
true.
cards here. We can pick them
Yeah,
up. We got them and say, all right, great. I can touch it, I can feel it, and I got the experience, and I can relive that. I can look at it again.
sure.
Yeah,
And who knows? Maybe it'll all go to zero and whatever. And if it all goes
that's
to
all right.
zero, then you know what? I'll start opening packs by myself at that
start
point.
start ripping it.
Start
Start
making
ripping it
binder
off.
sets like crazy. I'll have every binder set completed. That's it. Let's go.
Yeah,
But
that's when the Felipe YouTube channel comes out. And he's a pack ripper. I love it. I love it. We got to manipulate the numbers, everybody. We got to get it down to zero to see Felipe just start ripping into his into his stashes. I'm not sure what part that was, Chef, but my bold face is a reminder to Dan of what he used to be. Bald face, excuse me, bald face. Oh, that's hilarious. So we'll keep going, my friend. One of the other things I'm curious about because you mentioned it, and I think we're just going to elaborate that just a little bit more. Um, Engaging, and you called yourself a chat troll for a while there. But being that for the years and really using that as a way, in a sense, to really connect through the hobby and then come back out the other side and
yeah,
do things like this and being on the live with the oak, I should say, and really changing the way you interact to make it that much more enjoyable. What does the side of the chat troll kind of mean to you, and how do you look at that as your engagement?
yeah. the chat, the way I see the chat trolls they're the comedians of the chat, and that's what keeps people coming back. And you know what? Especially nowadays, a lot of the creators have caught on to the fact. Like I remember the old days where no one looked at the friggin' chat. You'd watch two guys talking, they'd talk for 2 hours straight. The chat we'd have our own thing going on, like it was like a separate thing. But now the YouTubers have caught on to the fact, like, hey, wait a minute, these guys are talking some funny stuff in there, and that they've found a way to incorporate the chat into the live and into the experience. So they're getting smarter there. But yeah, I don't know, being a chat, it's fun. You kind of poke fun at each other a little bit and say stupid things or something spicy, or kind of make whatever, make fun of something, whatever it is. It's just fun, just having fun and just trying to enjoy yourself a little bit there and interacting with each other. And it's funny because it's a lot of the same people there, and that's where the relationships come from after that. Another big part of the hobby was these discords, like joining into these discords now. It really enriches the YouTube experience almost. So it's almost like another layer where you have these chats where it's a little bit more centralized in terms of who's there, and and those are running 24/7. You can always go and jump on Discord and see what they're talking about. If it's something you're interested in, you drop 2 cents into it, or if they're talking about something you're not really whatever about, you just keep on moving, keep it rolling, right? So but it's nice to have that kind of perpetual. Like I find myself checking my Discord as much as I do my email nowadays. You know what I mean? Because I like to keep up with it.
Probably more in some cases.
Yeah, seriously.
Walrus says using my humor and capitalizing. I hate it. Exactly the point, Walrus. Keeping it fresh, man. Keeping it fun.
Yeah. If people are smiling and laughing, you're doing something right. And honestly, that's what keeps you coming back, is the fun.
Oh, okay, I get it now, Chef. You're the Dan 2021 version of Dan. Got it. Check. Perfect. The other thing I was thinking about as we went through this is, you've been around, much like myself. We were a little bit older when Pokemon came out, so we didn't probably get into it like some of the other ones that came just a few years after us. Why do you think it was this for you? Why was it Pokemon that? I mean, obviously your son was a key part of it, but
yeah, for sure.
Why not comics? Why not, to your other point, video game space? Because those are huge spaces as well.
Yeah.
Why are you not there? And why?
Comparatively, like as much as I collect a few things here and there, nothing even comes close to how deep I've gotten into Pokemon, and that's a good question. I don't know what it is, man. I like the art. I really appreciate art. I mean, I'm someone I paint and draw a little bit myself, and
oh really?
I'm kind of have an artistic side to me, and I think I spoke to, that's one of the reasons I like hospitality. Anyway, I want to focus on the question, but
that's all right.
I don't know what it is.
Rant as you want. As you want. That's what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know. I really appreciate the art. Once I started understanding what it is, I mean, there's so much to it. It's so interesting. I like looking at the evolution of this IP over the span of these 25 years, coming on 30 years. It's super interesting. I mean, to see how these characters have evolved, how even though they've been come up with 1,000 different Pokemon now, it's still those original 101 that are still the ones that get people going. It's interesting to see how they reinvent themselves and portray the art. And I really think that it comes down to we're a bunch of art collectors. Really, we really are. I mean, it's fun to play the game. The game is fun enough. Unfortunately, I don't have anywhere around where I am where I could go and play Pokemon. Like, there's nowhere. I wish there was. I was playing online for a little bit on the PT Go, whatever, live or whatever. And then they rotated. They did rotation, and my set that I've been running turned into a giant pile of ass, so I couldn't. And then I got really mad, and I haven't played since. So yeah, since last rotation, I stopped playing. My deck went to shit, and I was like, oh,
Never mind.
Never
Done.
mind. So yeah, I'd like to start playing again. I haven't played in a while, but I'd like to play in real life. I'd like to play in real life, but there's nowhere
It's
around here.
fun.
I have one card shop, close to me, but it's more of a magic shop. They have a couple tables there. They play Magic, and they like their Pokemon section is like this big. It has like the newest set that's out, and that's it. Like one booster box and like a blister. You can, and it's like double the price of Walmart. So like I don't even, you know what I mean? Like I'm not going there to buy freaking Pokemon cards because so yeah. So there's nowhere up here to play, but I really would like to play a little bit. It is fun building
You
decks.
gotta build it into the resort. That's the answer, Felipe.
Yeah.
Have a little.
Now, how do you do that? Yeah, maybe that I could supply them with the cards. That's a good way
Exactly.
to thin out my collection a bit.
Exactly. At double the price of Walmart. Perfect.
Yeah, that's it. I'll sell it to my work. I'll make money off that. Anyway, yeah. Hopefully, no one from my work's watching this because then they'll be like,
I hope
gonna
not.
scam us.
I sent the link to everybody at JW Marriott, so maybe they'll forward it on. We'll see. They'll forward it on. Walrus says the moment I figure out how to start a channel and edit video, I'm so out of here. I made a similar comment, FOMO, that Walrus should be a stand-up comedian. This guy's hilarious. I would definitely love to see that channel. Definitely love to see it. Walrus stand-up comedy. That'd be the next best thing right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something I'd like to see a little bit more in the hobbies. A little bit more entertainment focused content, I think, and I think your podcast would fall into that position. But
thank you.
There's tons of channels that are more about the market or about supplies or reprints, and like there's different lanes for many different things. But I think that fun, like that stuff like Oak was doing there with those game shows back in the day,
That
those
was
were
fun,
gold.
yeah.
Like those things were gold. Like someone's got to do that again. Like Bug Oak, he hasn't made content enough. I know he does his podcast with Josh there. Shout out to Slap Podcast, but. Yeah, it'd be nice to see some Oak could bring back some of those nights. They were fun to watch, and they'd be just because it was just a bunch of the same people that are chilling in all these other chats, and the focus of it was just hanging out with each other and being silly and the competition of because then like a lot of people in the chat were better at the game than whoever was on the friggin' screen. Like you've seen if you watch that episode.
I did. Yeah.
They're asking questions about the anime. I never watched any of that stuff. I never played any of the video games. So
so everybody stayed away from the whole video game comment. Like, no, let's go Pokemon 1 for 100. It was a really good episode. I love the idea. What a fun way to do it. Really fun way to do it. Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of games here too today. So Felipe inspired games. So hang tight, and we'll do some fun stuff here in the chat and in the podcast here in just a minute. Not quite Jeopardy though. Not quite Jeopardy, but still fun nonetheless. Before we do though, you mentioned a couple of comments earlier on that you're not really a graded card collector. But do you buy some just if they're at the right price and you throw them in, or
I've bought.
You stay away from it.
I probably bought less than 10 graded cards.
Okay.
I don't generally grade. I don't see the value. Like if I wanted graded cards, I'll grade the ones I have. Like I have tons of cards. Right. They're all raw, and like I try to buy as good quality, minty quality as I can. Yeah, if I really wanted graded cards, I would just grade my own. If I do see a good deal, I did buy one actually recently. I've actually bought a Rainbow Pikachu PSA 10, and I seen it on auction, and it was a really good deal, and I snapped it up. But that's probably the most expensive graded card I've ever bought. Okay. And I bought it just to have one because I'd like to think of that one maybe as my own. And the one my son pulled would be his, you know what I mean? But I always kind of wanted to have kind of my own. And again, not really an investment, just something I'd like to have. That card means something to me, and I think having a second one, or having one of my own, I think it's that
Just
card.
reinforces the
Yeah, so
experience. Yeah.
that's the only card in my collection apparently. So
Okay.
the rest is my son.
Which reminded me, Zach, I did see your questions from earlier. I actually have those in some of the rapid fires, so hang tight, my friend, and I'll answer those questions you asked him about some of his favorite cards and stuff. So we'll have that sprinkled into the rapid fires. You did also mention that the closest store was like it was in actually Oak's podcast. It was like 2 hours away. Is that the one that's a small magic store, or you have that one close by, and then anything else is 2 hours
No, the
away?
closest real Pokemon store is like an hour to 2 hours away. Well, it's
Wow.
there's one in Barrie. It's pretty close, but like to get to a real Pokemon store, yeah, you're about 2 hours away.
Okay.
But that little one up there, I don't even really count that one. That one's only 20 minutes away from me, but
Okay.
it's
Okay.
their Pokemon. Literally, it's this. It's like a tiniest little thing. There's like one pack
One little
essentially.
shelf. Yeah. One little shelf there just for
No,
Pokemon.
it's not even a shelf. It's just a little corner of the shelf. It's not,
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
And
they really
is
don't.
I'm sorry.
No, I say they really don't sell Pokemon.
Okay.
Really, it's a magic store.
Do does the Pokemon space in Canada kind of give you good variety when you do get to a good store? Or do you just really find there's lacking products, things
Yeah,
just aren't
it's it's
necessarily as
it's
available?
more difficult, and there's not there's a few Canadians that hang around the space, but I haven't seen a lot of people kind of talk about the difference of collecting in Canada versus collecting over there. It is different. It's more expensive a little bit up here.
I was
Um,
wondering, yeah.
we don't get those same deals you guys get down there. Like you guys will, because we don't have Target up here. We don't have so
Mm,
many distributors there doing flash sales, like all that stuff that you guys have access to, like blowing out cases at like booster boxes at $88. It's
you don't see
very
it.
hard to find that here in Canada. Um, yeah, it's difficult here, and buying from the States, any savings that you would have, you lose in the shipping.
Shipping.
So you try to buy from Canada, but the selection here is usually a little bit more expensive, and yeah,
Okay.
and harder to find things. It's not ideal. No, you guys are spoiled there. Yeah, we're in hard mode up in Canada compared to getting stuff and getting a good deal on stuff. It's a little bit more difficult up here, and the lack of shows up here. Like there's no real Collecticon show in like
Mm,
they do a big show in Toronto, but it's kind of a little bit of everything, and it's not really like it's nothing like the ones I see the videos of you guys going to there in the States. I don't see anything comparable
mm.
up here. And maybe one day Collecticon will make its way over the border and go to Toronto, and then I would love to go to it, but yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
difficult. It's definitely harder to collect up here. It's a little bit more expensive. Product is a little bit harder to find, and I would imagine it's harder to sell up here too. I don't think the market up here is as as deep as it is in the States. And the States is bigger. You have a bigger population there, right? So more
Right.
population is more people. More people, if you do the math on whatever the percentage is of people that are interested in Pokemon, there's just more of them there,
Right.
right? So
Bigger buyer pool. Yeah.
yeah, there's a bigger buyer pool, and you guys have it figured out there with the delivery system. I mean, Canada is pretty big country. Like if I'm buying stuff from friggin' BC, I mean that's like the other side of it's like it's the other side of the friggin' country, and takes forever to get here. And it is what it is. Yeah, no, collecting in Canada is definitely not as easy as you guys
Mm.
have in the States, from what I see.
Yeah, I was curious. Yeah, to your point, I don't hear it spoken about too much. I don't hear people really complaining, but I also don't hear like any hot deals happening either. So yeah, I won't put that one up there, Walrus.
Just read that one. That was, yeah,
Yeah,
that pretty much. Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much.
We'll leave that one to your imagination, Walrus. You can have fun with that one later, bud. Uh, well, I think we're about at that time, Felipe. So if you want, we will you can do your smoke break. I know you want to take
Oh,
one,
that's good.
perhaps.
Yeah, I did want to get a
Yeah.
smoke break in there.
Yeah, grab you a smoke break. We'll do a pack battle. So we're gonna do a pack battle after this when he gets back. And one of the things that he and I talked about that we wanted to do is from the pack battle, and you'll have to kind of hone in how we want to do this here, Felipe. But we'll also then have a quick drawing battle. He was
Yeah.
inspired by my basic trainer drawing that I did during his
Yeah.
24-hour live stream. Don't worry, basic. I still have that. I'll get it to you. But you'll have to give me some guidance here, Felipe, on how we're going to walk through the then drawing battle from that pack battle. And we'll let the audience choose whose drawing's better. So
Yeah, and that's who wins the pack battle. So in essence, this
exactly.
whole idea. So I used to do this with my son was really into drawing there for a while, and I like to draw as well. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it. And we kind of incorporated that into the pack battle to make the pack battle more interesting. So it was essentially, so we'll open up packs. You can do it either two ways. You either got to draw your best pull, or the other person picks whatever card whatever Pokemon card. It has to be a Pokemon, not a trainer, not an item card.
Okay.
Whatever Pokemon they want you to draw. And then if you do it that way, you generally try to make it difficult for the person. So you're going to pick the Pokemon that's hardest to draw. So we can do it.
I like that one. We'll do that. We'll do that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's it. We'll give each other a minute, and you're not gonna have a long time to draw but whatever. We both got the same amount of time, and we'll have to draw that card, and then we'll let the chat decide who's the better artiste.
We'll do that. Let's do it. Go, enjoy your smoke break real quick, and then we'll get back and we'll get started. All right.
Thank you.
So in the meantime, I'll go back here in case you missed that 24-hour live stream. So this was my drawing here of Basic. So he was standing behind his desk. He was obviously rocking out the 24-hour live stream, had his Pokemon shirt on. You can clearly see that here, right? You can tell every one of those Pokemon are very clear. He was holding up his Ponychu. That's the Ponychu here. He was eating some chips and dip at the time, so he's got the dip over here, some salsa, some guacamole, some chips, and then he had a bunch of empty bottles. I don't think you got to see this part, Basic, but I added all the empty bottles of like 5-hour energy. Just laid out there on the table. Good stuff, man. That's gonna go to you. I'll make sure I cut this out of my book and I'll send it to you, my friend. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It's good times. Where's the grapes? I didn't see him eating the grapes, man. Didn't see him. I must have missed that part. I left only, I think, during the chip eating session. Let me get my pen here. Not falling for that. Show me the picture you drew. Stop holding up a photo. Right? It's so realistic, Walrus. That's what I was thinking, right? It was spot on. But I'm gonna keep that one for you, Basic. I'll send that to you. I'll send that to you as a little bit of a precursor to next week. We will have Basic on the channel, so Basic will be with us next Thursday, I believe. So look forward to that, Basic. It's gonna be a good conversation, my friend, and as always, it's a pleasure getting to interact with you. And this and a little bit more deeper session will be awesome. I just want that Picasso in my casa. Casa. All right. No castle. No worries. It's all yours, my friend. It's all yours. He's the fastest smoker in the world, by the way, in case you didn't know. He sucks it down in like 5 hits and he's done. He's done.
Yeah. See, I'm already back.
All right. I was just showing them the.
Yeah, let me see it again. I'd love to see it again. Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Got the chips. Got the 5-hour energy drinks over here to the side.
Just like him.
Got the Ponyta rocking. He had the little Fu Manchu going on there. Yeah.
You got to photocopy that one for him and mail it to him.
I'm gonna give it to him. I'm gonna cut it out. I'm gonna give it to him.
Nice.
I made a promise. Bye, Mrs. A. If you're heading out, good
Bye,
to see
Mrs.
you.
A. Thanks for coming, Mrs. A.
Yeah, really
Shout out
appreciate
to
it.
her. She's a mod
Yeah,
in Rob's channel.
yep. She's a rock star. All right, let's do this, man. So I have Paradox Rift.
Okay. What did I get? It
150.
sucks. I'd mailed Pokemon Wonder 6 packs and they still haven't arrived, even though I mailed them like freaking 3 weeks ago, and I feel so bad. So now he's
No
got to dip
worries,
into
no
his own
worries.
packs. But
They got stuck in the mail, so they actually tried to deliver it to the
Yeah.
PO box, and for whatever reason, they didn't get it. So
they'll be there at some point. So they'll replace the ones you opened today anyway. But you could open them up with the kids, and hopefully they pull something good. And
hope
hopefully
so.
we pull something good today.
You ready to do it?
Yeah, let's go. You can go first if
All
you
right.
want.
All right, we got a Mantite, and Gabit, Gabbit, Double Blade, Crobat, Rort, Iron Bundle, and an Energy Boost. Porygon Z. That'll be a fun one to draw. And that's it. Nothing on that one.
Yeah.
Porygon was my hit.
Yeah, I'm not
That's okay.
picking any of those. You're not drawing any of those. I don't like Porygon. You're not drawing that. It's like a 151 pack. I don't have the fancy second camera setup, but
No worries. No
it
worries.
is what it is.
Go old school on us.
Oh, there we
Love
go.
it.
Okay. So there we go. Oh, we got a good one to start. We got there we go.
Side up.
Side
All right.
duck.
You got 151. I do feel like I'm a bit cheated here because I figure you're gonna knock it out of the park.
Cubone, Vulpix, Doug Trio, Clefable.
Tentacool.
Tentacruel.
Yeah. The seal.
A Dugong.
Yeah.
Venonat. I got something.
Oh, I already got the
I got
EX.
something. Kangaskhan.
Genghis. Yeah.
Kangaskhan and a fighting energy.
All right, man. You definitely got that one. All right. So how do you want to do it? You want to go a few more? Do best out of 3?
Yeah,
Best
let's
out
do
of
it.
6?
Yeah, that sounds good. 3 is good.
All right. Come on, Paradox. Give me that alternate art roaring moon. Hit me up here. Anybody's playing online, Chef? Go ahead and get you some new cards for your deck there, my friend. Give that baby a scan before Basic steals it. He's leaving MetaZoo, I heard. So
Come on, let's get some good luck in the chat here for us.
come on, guys. Not 2. This guy again. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the new evolution just yet.
No.
It hadn't grown on me yet. Tulip, come on, Pansage. Okay, all right. A Brute Bonnet.
Now
That's
that's
nice.
a tough one to draw. I think I might that one might be on my list there.
Come on, man. Come on. Jeez, you killed me. That's a beauty. That's a beauty.
Nice hit.
I like that. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh,
Let's
that's a
leave that
beauty.
up. Go for it, man.
GG.
That's right. GG's. Loving Rob's channel, man. Loving Rob's channel.
Okay.
Glad I found it.
So I guess code card I can show you guys
All
there.
right.
Okay. Whoa. Table again.
Water says, I hope you both fail for opening packs.
Oregon. Electabuzz. What do we got there? Cloister. There's Giovanni. There's Retro's friend. We got Rhydon.
He was running pure Team Rocket the other day.
Zubat.
Dunking
We got
on
some
Dan.
eggs. Anything? Nope.
No, not that
Starmie.
one. That's my only hit.
And a fire energy.
All right. Let's see if I don't know. I'm thinking I'm winning with this one, right? This is, yeah. I mean, it's. I don't know. I think that's going to be an EX in my opinion. Walrus's favorite artist. Is it Camilla? Yep, sure is. It's Camilla. Is that your favorite artist, Walrus? I'm doing research if you can't tell. Here we go. Nothing so far. Remoraid. a nimble, the building, and a fire energy. Nope, that's it. You got the
Oh,
last one.
man.
See if you can bring it home for us, man. See if you bring it home.
Oh, am I going to make you draw that really hard one? I don't know. I feel bad, I think. But anyway,
Go for it.
we'll see. You never know. Maybe you'll do really good.
Exactly, Chef.
Okay.
I think Retro said it like 8 times. You know, I don't mean to dunk on you, but here it comes. Slam
Manky.
dunk.
Meowth. Eggs.
Come on.
Scyther. Oh, that's
Let me
nice
win this one. I like that Charmander artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That one is nice.
And
Oh, no,
No.
one more.
wait.
It's something. Something.
I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? 2 EXs
Golem?
or
No,
the
Golem.
art rare?
I
What do you guys
don't know.
think? Don't make me scam you harder, Wally. Who's
So I
the
don't
winner
know.
of that one?
Drawing wise, I don't know if you want to make me draw one of these guys.
What do you guys think? Who won? Who won the fat battle?
Well, Pack Battle, you definitely won. I think in terms
think
of
so?
value of cards. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
All
nice
right.
card.
All right. So then the draw. Yeah, you do the golem. I want you to do the golem.
Oh,
Go,
okay,
mama.
okay. You're gonna go. Yeah, you gotta do that. You gotta do that weird looking one. You're gonna. It could be. That's gonna be a tough one to draw, man. I don't know how you're gonna do that in a minute, but
I don't know.
you know what?
know.
That's part of the fun is watching
right.
what you come up with there.
Let me look at it. Really good. All right. So you let me know when you're ready. I'm just
Okay.
I'm absorbing what I'm seeing. I'm allowed to look at it while I'm drawing, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right.
You go, and we can talk. We can talk and draw.
All right.
And I
don't know,
guess
can't
I don't know
multitask.
if we're gonna do a timer. I need a pencil.
Yeah. I have the time up here on the live. All right. I think I got it.
Okay.
Where is the brute bonnet? I don't even see him.
Oh man.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. So this is what I'm
All right.
drawing here, just so everyone sees it.
Yeah, golem. All right, let's go. So we got 42 seconds after here, so
Let's go.
Let's kick it.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh god. Oh, drawing mine, I'm like, I think you really got the short end of the stick on the drawing battle here. Because this one is hard. I can imagine what yours is like. Oh man. Oh god.
We got 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Oh my god. Okay.
You said 1 minute, right?
Yeah. We can go. We'll go and do it. Let's see.
I can't get much in here.
Okay. Oh
I
man.
think that's it. Yeah. Oh, I forgot the face. No. I forgot the face.
Let me see yours. At least I can see
All right.
yours. You didn't see mine yet.
So
Oh.
here's the flower, right?
Yeah.
There we go. So there's the flower. I got this little mushroom guy in the back. And then I got this, whole kind of plant life here going in the background. So I started off with the mean mushroom guy.
Oh, you did
Then
good
I started
on that.
to try to work on the flower a little bit. And then I was trying to get it, but a minute's tough.
A minute is super tough. You did really good. Okay, here's my. Okay, I'll hold my card up so you can see.
That's pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah, it looks like you traced it, though. You traced it. That's the
No,
problem.
I couldn't have traced it. They're not the same size.
Use the projector.
You
went old
can't
school
trace
on
on
me, man.
this. This paper's too thick. Anyway, you can't see. See?
He went off camera, everybody. You saw it. He went off camera.
I knew I was going to pull that goal in.
That was good. That was good. I got 3 more packs. Did you want to do the other 3?
Yeah, sure. If you want to open them, we could just open for fun.
Yeah, we'll just open 3. See ya, Rob. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Really
Thanks,
appreciate you
Rob,
hanging out
man.
with us.
Good luck on
you
your
guys. Let
move,
us know in the
man.
chat.
Yeah,
Let
he's
us know in the
moving.
chat who won the drawing. Who won the drawing? If you want to see him again, let us know. Yeah, the giraffe rig. Yeah, that giraffe rig kind of Raikou looking one is crazy looking. We'll do these, and then we'll actually do a giveaway, borrowing a little bit of the spice there from the Slab podcast. So definitely drop a link there for the Slab podcast if we haven't done so already. Zach or Walrus or anybody who's modding, much appreciated. Show some love there. Love Greeny, love Oak, doing great stuff over there. Perfect. Walrus says, I don't know who won, but I can tell you we lost. I love it. You guys are good. Go for it, man. You gonna do your other packs?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got. I'm really hoping to get that. Oh man, I was about to say, did I just get it? The Roaring Moon.
Oh, I got a cool one. That's a cool card there.
Yeah,
that's
a good playable card too. I was just talking to Andy about that.
Yeah, Andy plays quite a bit, and I know you play as well, which is great.
Really enjoy it.
It's something I wish I did a little bit more of. Oh, there we go. I got a nice one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice,
that's a nice
man.
one.
I think you definitely got this side then. This next
one.
Next
that's
three.
Looking nice.
Yeah, that's beauty. Do you have that one already?
This one, no, I don't have it. And this is funny. I said I go in and do binder sets every once in a while. This is my newest binder set. Venture is 151. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Walrus, man. He says, I don't support collector content. I respectfully won't drop a link. Crazy, man. All right. I only got 2 hits out of that, man. That was my 6.
Oh, I got a pretty good one there. Yeah, no, I think I got you with that Alakazam.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a nice one there. There's a nice one there. Growlithe.
Oh, yeah.
The art in this set is great. This 151 set is just such a nice one. It really is a great set. One of the better ones.
That's one of the ones I'm master setting.
Yeah, me too. This is my next master set goal. But going at it slowly. Nothing there. Oh, I got a fancy energy.
I like those hollow energies. Those are nice.
Yeah, they're cool. You can get them with quite a few swirls on them. Some of them have like 4 swirls. Okay, last pack. Here we go. Last pack magic. Let's get it. Eggs. Able, chop, choke. We're gone.
Nice.
Eaterine. There's Erica.
Come on, get that Erica
forward. Oh, there we go. That's all right. That's one I don't have either. I wanted that one.
You're killing me, man. Yeah. Killing me. Just rubbing it in. Oh, I love it, dude.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
You got some good pulls. Was that an ETB?
This one was from a premium collection.
Okay. These packs. The Mew premium collection.
Yeah, it was from one of those. Ones we were opening them. We didn't open the whole thing, so I had some left over.
Retro says we need more Canadians like Filipe in the hobby. I'm sus on Shovels.
Shovels, I love Shovels. He's a funny guy. I have a lot of fun back and forth with him. He's a great guy. He really is. He's funny. He's kind of a mysterious guy too. He's one of those guys. He's always around, but a lot of people don't really know a lot about. I'd love to meet him in person. I know some people have. Now here is great. Okay, so for a giveaway, I got 2 packs left here. So I don't know. We got to pick someone. I don't know if whatever. Maybe the best question. Anyone whoever can ask the best question. Me and Wonder will narrow it down to 2, and then we'll let the chat pick who wins. And then
perfect.
If you want it to, you can reach out to me through Discord, or you can reach out to Wonder. I'll get your address. I'll mail them to you. I'll mail them to you sealed. If you want me to open them, I'll open them. It's up to you. Okay.
Oh, perfect. All right. So best question in the chat, and we'll narrow
Best
it down
question.
to.
So think of a doozy, so we can move on to something else for now. Let people get some questions in there, and then we'll someone will win a couple packs. So
Perfect.
hopefully
I
there's
enjoyed
something.
that, man.
Yeah, that was
Thank you,
fun.
man.
That was really fun.
I think I beat you on the drawing, but you beat me on the pulls. I think we'll call it
Yeah, in the
there.
second, you won the first half, but the pulls, yeah, were good. The full art was nice, and that one art rare is nice. Uh, Beauty. It's good.
Uh,
There are two cards I don't have either, which is great. So add them in my
Mojo
binder.
has. He says, "Why Inte so cheap? The one bullish on kitties and the habitat." Oh. All right, all right. Zach says, "What's been your hardest chase to get?" All right. Walrus has a lick a tongue uses lick on you. What body part should you shield?
You know, Walrus is going to come with a strong one, and that's definitely a contender so far. That's a
Yeah,
good one.
that's a good one, Walrus. That's a good one. I love it. Throw some more in the chat, guys. We'll keep going, and then we'll circle back and see what questions we miss. Oh, I love that one. That was a good one, Morris. All right, we'll run through some rapid fire questions, and then we'll come back and we'll read some of the ones that they have.
Okay.
That way, it'll give them some time to put some stuff in the chat and give them some time to think. All right, so you know how we do it. We'll run through two sections. In this first one, we'll do name the PokeTuber or somebody in the hobby in the Pokemon space. And then I'll just kind of give you a phrase, and then you let me know who comes to mind. All right, ready?
Well, yeah, ready. Let's do it.
All right. Favorite PokeTuber to watch?
Oh, depends on mood I'm in. That's a hard question to narrow it down to just one. It's very difficult. Depends what mood I'm in. I got to shout out Slap Podcast. I really love watching those two guys. Those two guys, the way they interact with each other, they're so funny. I mean, they play off each other so well.
They
Uh,
do. They do.
you know, I always really enjoy watching them, and oftentimes it's during the workday when they release it. So it's always one that I usually have to catch after the fact. But I always look forward to that one, and I try to slot it when at a time where I know I can just sit and just absorb the whole episode and maybe throw. Yeah, I'll pick Slap Podcast there for sure.
Shout out the Slap Podcast. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, they're a great dynamic.
No, the
Great
best,
duo.
the best,
Yeah.
the best. Like Oak might be my
Someone
favorite guy in the hobby. He's such a great.
Oak.
Oh, he's
He
such
is
a beauty.
true. I so enjoyed that conversation with
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
And I
He's
hope I
just
get to see him at a Collecticon or
yeah,
at some event someday soon.
yeah.
Really great guy.
Really
Really
kind
great guy.
gentleman.
Someone who makes you take notes when you listen to them.
Oof. Well, that's definitely PK. PK will definitely he'll spill. Sometimes it's quite technical what he's talking about in terms of what he's doing and whatever. Yeah, if someone I'm saying okay, I'm going to tell you, yeah, definitely in terms of more of that knowledge base, something kind of note taking esque, it would be PK. He's definitely.
Dropping the knowledge.
He's always dropping the knowledge. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Most memorable for you?
PokeTuber, most memorable?
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say Max Mofo.
Mm.
I started watching Max Mofo like way back, kind of before I fell into this space. And
Really? Okay.
and at that time, he opened up a lot of. He used to love Japanese too, and that's kind of what got me a little bit into Japanese was Max Mofo. And I just love the way he was such a character. Like he doesn't, he kind of does. He doesn't do it anymore. But back in the day, I used to really enjoy his video drops, and I found him super entertaining. And I loved how it was like kind of like the bad boy opening Pokemon. It was like it was kind of like that Cool Trainer Ryan vibe.
Yeah.
Now, but I think a lot of that stems back to Max Mofo was kind of the pioneer there in that space. And he had quite a few followers too. He was like in the millions. It was crazy.
Yeah, he was doing a good job. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what he left for, but yeah, he was rocking it there for quite a while.
Yeah.
Who makes you smile the most when you see them show up in the chat?
Oh, Basic trainer. Whenever you see basic trainer rolling up, you know it's going to be a good time. You know, because he's just yeah.
I love it.
I like yeah. If I see basic trainer pulling up a chair there, you know it's going to be a good time. He's
No, that's right.
yeah. He's got the gift of the gab, and he really knows how to like he could have done that 24-hour live stream by himself. I swear to God, like he's an entertaining guy for sure.
Yes, yes. I was just saying, while you stepped away for the cigarette, we're gonna have Basic on next week. So,
Oh, that's
uh,
so exciting.
yeah, yeah. So check it out. It's gonna be a great
Yeah,
conversation. Really, really stoked for that one.
really cool.
Lots of love there, Basic. Lots of love, man. Um, someone you would hire to be on your staff at your daily job.
Oh, that's chef, 100%. It's got to be chef. It's got to be chef. That's the easiest answer ever.
I love it. That was so quick. That's confidence right there, Chef. That's
Yeah,
confidence.
man. Anytime, chef. You want to come to Canada? You come. I gotta get you.
You
You
got a
got a
job.
job, man. I got you.
Live on site. Got free resort access.
Oh, yeah,
Perfect.
we'll juice you up, man. We'll take care of you. Don't worry.
Has directly or indirectly influenced you to spend the most money in the hobby?
Got to blame Rob on that one for sure. He brings on those friggin' old XY friggin' Japanese
Yeah,
beauties, and the boxes are just like they're just so beautiful.
they're gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say no. You just want one. Like even you're almost happy to pull a light pack, just because that way you can keep it sealed and you can grade it, or even just whatever, just keep it in your collection. Just because they're just the pack arts on some of those packs are so beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, no, Rob's Rob definitely has got me in a couple of times for sure.
He knows how to sweet talk you. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you keep pulling out those gravy, those beautiful. It's hard to say no.
So, okay, I'll buy a pack. Someone you shared with recently as a friend. So you saw somebody you knew, or you saw like a video and you shared it recently to somebody else.
Oh, geez. I don't usually share videos. I don't think I've ever shared a video to anyone, to be honest. Like, to be honest, I don't have an answer because I
Okay.
don't really do that. I don't know why I don't do that, but I've posted a video in
Everybody
like a
knows our
video Discord link. Like I've done that,
Okay. Okay.
but I've never like that
Never
share
shared it.
function. I've never used it. I've never actually
used
used it. Yeah.
There you go, YouTube. Nobody uses it.
Do you use it? Like, do you use that share function?
I do. Because I'll usually copy the link. So I'll take the link and because I don't usually share directly within the app, but I'll say share. I'll grab the link, and because I'm using my phone, and
Yeah.
I'll share something with somebody. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
biggest positive influence on the hobby today.
Oh, that's a tough one because there's lots of people who are very positive in their own way. The biggest positive influence, geez, that's a really, really tough one. Yeah, there's so many different ways that I don't know. Maybe PokeRev. I know he's kind of the big and but he's got such a deep reach and he really does it. He does try to educate people and he gets people. I think it's important. I think his role in that PokeTuber space is very important. It's a gateway. He's the gateway guy,
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think his role is important. I'd say PokeRev. I think his role. I think he's overtaking Leonhardt as the guy.
So,
And honestly, I'm glad he did because I like Rev's content better. Yeah, I'd say Rev.
Okay. Yeah, I still enjoy watching him opening some stuff. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
still,
He has great content. And I don't watch every video, but every once in a while he'll do something that'll catch my eye. And I'll watch it.
Yeah. Fully agree with you. Basic says classics. Yeah, classics is a good one.
Yeah, Classics is very talented. He doesn't make enough videos though, but he's a teacher. He's a busy guy, right? But very talented.
When you edit all your videos like that, Yourself, yeah, it takes a long time. He puts a lot of work into it. Most controversial.
Oh boy. Nostalgianomics, I gotta say, he's so good at stirring the pot. I love Nostalgianomics, and I actually been watching. I do watch his content as well. But yeah, no controversy. Always follows that guy around everywhere he goes. That whole thing, he kind of brought this whole cabal thing into the play, and it's kind of become a meme in a
Yeah,
certain way,
yeah.
and and it's funny, but but he's controversial in a good way. He's not scared to put his opinion out there, and he's not scared to call people out if he disagree. Yeah, anyway, it is what it is. If I'm going to pick the controversial guy, it's definitely Nostalgianomics. But shout out to him. He is great. I do watch his content, and I
I
do.
still watch him too.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I like him. But yeah, no,
If
he definitely stirs the pot.
if you were to start a YouTube channel, who would you get to be your mentor?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Like if I was to do a channel, so I have to think. Okay, well, what would my channel be? Would I be a pack opener? Would I be talking about the market? Would I be, I wouldn't probably be doing any of those things. Um, it would be like a live hangout. That's probably what I'd be looking to do if I did it. So who does that really well? I mean, you do that really well. Um,
Thank you, sir.
yeah, I like the bringing on the guests, and I mean, oftentimes you'll see some of the Pokemon panels. Once it gets to like 4 people or more, it's too many people.
Yeah.
And the conversation never really, some people will sit there for like 10 minutes and not say a word, and whatever, it's all good. But no, I think 1-2 people I think is good. Yeah, I like your content for that. I'd say I like the interaction with the chat. I like focusing on someone and giving them the due course of time that they deserve, right? Like my cabal.
Oh Lord,
Like,
Walrus man, love you, brother. Love you, man. Best pack breaker or live streamer?
the best pack breaker. I gotta pick Rob. Even though I already
Yeah,
picked him for one, I gotta pick.
that's all right.
Okay, so let's just say live stream. Yeah, just pick Rob. He's the
Yeah,
best.
Rob.
He
I
really
knew you were
is.
gonna go with Rob.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
such he's got it. He's got it down to a science. He's so good.
If you had to pick somebody that your son would imitate, who would you pick? As he gets older, not in terms of being a PokeTuber, but in terms of their personality and their
Oh
demeanor
man.
and those kind of things.
Oh man. I'm trying to think of my son and like kind of who we could evolve into kind of thing, just by personality wise. He'd be like a kind of he's kind of got a cool trainer Ryan kind of vibe to him. Like he's kind of a funny little guy. Um, yeah, I could see
Okay.
him I could see him going down that road where he'd be kind of the same. Where like cool trainer Ryan's a very sweet individual, but he's funny. And he's
Yeah.
kind of he's not scared to anyway.
Share
Yeah,
his opinion.
I could see him going down that road.
I love it. All right, let's roll back in the chat. Let's see what questions we had.
Oh man, it's gonna be
And
hard to beat friggin' Walrus.
yeah,
I'll
that was
Walrus.
good.
Just give me your address and I'll just mail you 2 packs.
Was it win by default? Is that what just happened here?
I don't know. Let's see. I didn't really get a
Does
chance to do
Felipe
that.
feel the same way about LGSs as Professor Oak does? Because Professor Oak hates LGSs. But if I understood his spicy comment, it wasn't that he hates LGSs, it's that he hates the absence of LGSs in his
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, well, I
Right?
could
So,
agree with that.
yeah.
And some LGSs, I mean, if you watch Mason's video today, he was talking about how all those ones overseas with the Van Gogh release, they get in their 100 Van Gogh cards and selling them out the back door and selling friggin' those play packs are supposed to be given to the players, and they're selling cases
Right.
of them on eBay, and so like those kind of stores give the space a bad name a little bit. Also with the scalping type prices back when product was hard to find, these guys were just they were gouging their customers, right? It was horrible.
Yeah.
So I can see how there's a little bit of truth to that. Yeah, lick my balls 2020, lick my cabal's 2024. I mean, geez, I know it's not a question, but geez, I want that shirt.
Yeah, but even the licky tongue question he asked was hilarious. That was good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh man.
And the next one here is from Jeff. Out of all the Pokemon sets, all the way back to base set 99, what's your favorite and most memorable? Okay. Oak had Walrus had another one. He says, Oak, y'all know he puts mayo on his pizza, right? The whole hobby is sus. Yeah, that was weird when I saw that one doing the research on Oak. I was like, wow, really? Mayo on the pizza, man? I'll have to try it. I've never tried it. I've never tried it, to be fair.
It's not that weird. I mean, you see sometimes for crust dipping, they'll sell like ranch. Ranch is essentially a mayo-based sauce. It's not really that far off into the zone. But yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I still haven't tried it. It's funny. I had pizza this week, and I almost tried it, and then I was like, nah, it's okay.
Let's do regular pizza.
So, I have to try it one day. I have to try one day. Yeah, I don't know.
Right,
Question-wise, I don't know. I gotta, to be honest, I think Walrus is
I think Walrus won it. Congratulations, Walrus. Confetti drop from the ceiling.
I'll send these to you sealed if you want. I don't know if you're on the Discord or not, or if you're in Oak's Discord, but you can DM me, give me your address. I'll mail these to you. Or if you want me to open them, I will open them right here. It's up to you. Okay. But these are yours.
Did you drop one in the chat, Thrifty? Did I miss yours? Did you drop a question we overlooked? I didn't see it. No, I don't see one.
Homie scams are the best scams. That's good.
That is good. All right. Massive L says retro. Yeah. Well, Walrus he's got you guys beat. I mean, you guys got to step up your game. You got to step up the game.
Yeah, it's just hard to compete. So let me know, Walrus. Hey, these are yours, man. These are yours, man.
He's still got to reach out to me for the prize I want to give him on my live stream, like 3 live streams ago, and he refuses. He refuses. So I'm gonna hold it until he reaches out to me. All right, let's do the next rapid fires. These are general, so non-Pokemon. Some of them are Pokemon, but just kind of all over the place. So I think I already know the answer for this one. And this actually was when my son wanted me to ask you. So my 9-year-old son said, "Hey, Dad,
very cool.
Ask him this." But I think we know the answer. But the best pull of all time.
Best pull. I think I said it earlier. It's so memorable to me, that pull.
Yeah.
There was another memorable pull too, and I'll just say just because it was another funny one. It was like one of those Walmart Black Friday boxes. You know those big Jirachi ones. Yeah. They came with like 10 packs, and it was like XY packs and Sun and Moon packs, and great deal. They were really cheap too. So it has one Evolutions pack in there. And this was when we got back in the hobby. So we were kind of nostalgic for Evolutions because that's kind of what we got started in. And it had been years since we opened up an Evolutions pack. And we used to fight over who would get the Evolutions pack if we ever opened one of those boxes. Yeah, exactly. And it was funny because we split the packs, and then we were fighting, and like that pack, we were like almost throwing it or friggin' around the room and hiding it under pillows. It was like this whole fucking situation with this stupid pack. And then sure enough, it had the friggin' Charizard in it. And it was just a funny one too, because it was like the one pack that we're like totally just like throwing around the room and wrestling over. Essentially, it has the fucking Charizard in it.
It's all bent in half.
Yeah, well, Evolution's quality was so garbage anyway. You're not getting a 10 on that card anyway.
No. Everything came out with whitening and dinged corners.
There's so few 10s of that card. That's why the 10s are very expensive still of that card. But anything other than a 10 is worthless. Right? But not worthless, but not. It's not a big money.
The premiums.
No.
So after you retire and you start having your own Pokemon reselling business, what's the first card you're going to sell?
Oh. I'm gonna start with the bulk. I'm probably gonna start with the bulk. I gotta start. I'm gonna have to ease my way into it because honestly, like I'm gonna have to start selling cards that I don't want just to see how it feels. So I'm gonna pick the bulkiest, crappiest cards I have and put them together in a big lot, and I'll start there. I'll start from the bottom and work my way
Okay.
up.
Just remember what you said a few minutes ago, though, Phil. If you're not enjoying what you're doing something wrong. So
Yeah.
when you're 3 days in and piles of bulk are surrounding you, just don't forget that. Hey, what's up, Josh? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping
Oh,
by, man.
nice, Shiz. What's up, Shiz?
Good to see you, buddy. We were just talking
Doing
about you
good,
guys,
man.
giving you
Doing good.
some shout outs. And I forgot to mention this one. It says, it feels good to have my troll questions win and my, my real questions ignored. Great stream, guys. You're welcome. You are welcome. Now, I think I already know it again because you kind of shared it with us a story that touched both of these points. But best memory with your son.
In the hobby?
It can be outside. So now, since we've already touched the one on the
Oh
hobby,
man.
perhaps now you want to go outside.
Oh, so many memories. Jeez. You know what we used to do? We used to do something pretty fun back in the day. And it was a really cool memory. It was I have puppets. I have a bunch of puppets. So I kind of was collecting puppets there for a little bit, which is kind of a strange thing. And we started making videos where
Mm.
we do like this. So we had a whole storyline where it actually consisted of like, ended up being like 7 or 8 videos of this whole
Oh,
storyline of these puppets and like kind of this whole, it was like a mini movie, if you will.
I love
And we'd
that.
set up the camera and we'd do double takes. I would actually edit the videos. Like it was like a whole thing. And we did it together, me and my son, and it would take us hours. Like we'd do it, like he was young, and we'd spend like 3-4 hours making one part of this video, and then like a week later we'd make like another part, and then like it just over time. I have very fond memories, and if I watch those videos now, they always bring. I'm smiling ear to ear. They were really
Did
fun,
you put it all
creative things.
together so that then you had like the full show?
I do have them all together in a file where you could watch them sequentially. And
Oh, that'd be great to
we
see,
did
man.
some really funny things. It was really funny stuff. And then I
Keep
ended
up
up
your YouTube channel. That's got to be
yeah,
there
and
for a
then
video.
and then I ended up buying more puppets to help with the storyline, and like it was funny. It was funny, but it's cool.
That's gonna
I got some really another weird thing I collect. I got puppets. That is weird.
go viral on that one, Phil. That's gonna be your number one video, man. First time on YouTube. I love it. Good story though. What event would you create that Pokemon hasn't done already? With all your experience, your background, the hospitality side, what event would you create that Pokemon hasn't already created?
They need a theme park, man. They need to go all in.
Mm,
Get a theme park and go and like just do it. Whether could be a traveling theme park similar to like like we have one in Canada that travels around. It's called the CNE or whatever. But like I think a Pokemon theme park would be really cool. Like Disney, like a
yeah,
Disneyland, but Pokemon Land. Whatever. I think it would do
that'd be
well.
cool.
I think it would.
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would.
And you
Other
could
than the
theme all the
liability,
rides
yeah.
and think of all the merch and plushies and like you could. There's so much you can do with it.
And special promos and all kinds of cool stuff. Oh man, that'd be cool. You win prizes. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh my
I
God,
love it.
they'd make a fortune. They would make a
They
fortune.
would.
They would make a
There you go, Pokemon. There's your next business idea. You can pay us just 10%, 10% of the profits.
fortune.
We'll
I'll,
take
I'll take 1% even. Never mind.
it.
I'm good. It would be
All
enough.
right. No names here because we want to call anybody out. But how many Pokemon channels have you recently found, didn't sub, like, or finish the video? Like it just kind of showed up in your feed. You went and checked it out. How many do you think you've seen in the past? Let's call it 30 days.
Past 30 days. Yeah, I don't venture out too much unless I like
Okay.
someone's recommended or some catches my eye. Generally, it's people I've watched before. Generally, but I do from time to time. I'll try something new out. Yeah, maybe 4 or 5, maybe over the
Yeah, not
last
that
month,
many.
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Stick with what you know. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I don't have like endless amounts of time to spend. All the content I watch is friggin' long form, so it's like fucking, you're catching up on 2 hours of streams. It's not like these 10-minute videos that you got to catch up on, right? So
You're not doing a 15
yeah,
minute rev video. This is three and a
yeah,
half, 4 hours. You're like,
yeah.
oh, Jesus. Even at 2 times the speed. Walrus says we need a pop up Pokemon centers with exclusive cards and
That
merch
would
per
be fucking
location.
great.
That
There's
would be
no
awesome. That's
Pokemon
actually a really
Center.
good idea.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
we don't even have a physical in North America. Doesn't even have a physical store, do they? Is there a physical Pokemon Center in the States?
I don't think so.
I think it's just all online.
Yeah, I don't think there's a physical one. No,
Yeah.
we got one in Japan, but no, I don't
What
think
are
there's
these
one here.
guys doing? These Pokemon
Yeah,
guys, like, what are they doing? Spend too much
they're
time on
keeping the
cards.
allure. Keeping the allure is like, you gotta wait. You gotta wait. All right. Favorite item in your collection?
Hmm. See, I'm a Mimikyu guy. He's my favorite. Uh, and I got that one from, what was it, Lost Thunder or whatever it was, that rainbow one.
Yeah,
That's a nice card. I didn't pull it, but
yeah.
I did buy it.
You
It's
purchased it.
raw, but but yeah, Mimikyu is my guy, so I love that card.
Yeah, I saw your post in Discord where you got that for Secret Santa. They gave you
Yeah,
some Mimikyus. That was
yeah,
cool.
that's right. It was
That's cool.
was it Denizard was my Secret Santa
Hmm.
this year, and it was Peak That Chew. I was Peak That Chew Santa last year.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice. It goes full circle.
yeah.
Full circle. All right. The next item from Pokemon that you're looking forward to.
A game that's good. Like I've seen a lot of videos of their video games. Like I don't mean the playing game. I mean their video games.
Right.
And I've seen so many people talk about them, and it's like they haven't advanced in the last 10 years, and like it's just like, video game technology is pretty good now. You can make a really
Yeah.
good game. Like why not make something that's like over the top amazing?
Well, and I think there was a really good point made by DeGreen Shiz. I was listening to something from him and Oak and one other person I think that was speaking to it. Um, they keep it retro, obviously by purpose. If they came
Yeah,
out with the latest and greatest, highest graphics Pokemon game, like it would kind of kill the nostalgia of the way that it currently works. And so I think they're trying to find a balance with that. But yeah, that's a good point.
yeah. I
Yeah.
could kind of see that, but if you want to keep it retro, then friggin' make it retro and sell a Game Boy that's purple with Gengar on it, and it's the new, it's the new old one. And
We
then
just gave like multi-billion-dollar ideas to Pokemon here. I
yeah,
hope they're listening to this.
but I get the nostalgia side, but Pokemon needs to get new blood into the business. They need to engage the new generation that don't have nostalgia for those old 64-bit games. You know what I mean? Like they will make something really really cool. Like why not make it? Why don't they make a good movie, like a better, like Detective Pikachu is okay, but like I mean,
There's a new one coming out.
there's so much potential, man. There's so much potential with this IP. Even a
This,
Netflix series or something.
yeah, there is. But one of the things I forget who said it first, but it was repeated a lot. And it was in the context of the serial cards. Like, why would Pokemon pull out all the big stops when they're already on top?
Yeah,
They'll trickle out those things really slowly when
yeah,
they need to
yeah,
ensure they stay on top. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I wonder what they're gonna do for their 30th. It's coming up in
yeah.
another year and a bit.
Pokemon selling millions of units. Why would they risk it? Yeah,
Yeah.
change it. Yeah, exactly. All right. Something nobody knows about your collection, your Pokemon collection.
Oh, I got a secret there, and I
All right,
can't
let's go.
disclose it. Yeah, there's something I got something that I've been collecting for a couple of years that's Pokemon related that I have yet to see anybody in the space ever talk about. So that I have a little something. I have
Okay.
a little
All right.
something there. I've been collecting it for 2 years,
You're
and
gonna
it's
release it when you're done with it.
no, that's a cabal meeting stuff. So you got to DM me. We'll create a cabal. You got to maybe get like 4 or 5 guys. Y'all got to bring something specific to the table. One guy's the marketing man. One guy's the and we'll make it happen. So the
All
real
right.
cabal is
All
coming,
right.
but I definitely have something there, and now's not the time. But
All right. All
there's
right. We'll
there's
save it. We'll
definitely
save
a
it.
pocket of my collection that I haven't seen anybody. There's no videos on it. There's nothing about
Hmm.
it, and
You got me intrigued, man.
yeah.
I'm gonna start hitting you up on Discord.
Well, that's it. DM me, man. If you want to be part of the cabal, you DM me, and then we'll get it going.
We found it here, ladies and gentlemen. The real ringleader of the cabal. We found him. We found him. The next job or area in your career that you're gonna go into, because you're not at retirement yet. What's the next step?
The tail end of my career, I'm probably going to go back to the kitchen, man. I'm probably going
Yeah.
to go back. My real passion for the industry was in the kitchen. I really enjoyed it. I got a knack for it. I'm talented at it. I've always been around the kitchen, but I think in the later part of my years, I'm going to step down from all the responsibility and just do what I love doing and just bang out great food. And I think I'll probably end it but it'll be on my terms. I'll be work when
Right.
I want to, and it'll be in my own way. But yeah, I could see me kind of on the scale down, probably going back in the kitchen
Stepping back.
where my passion is, and whatever. I'd probably float around at that point, and when I get bored of a place, I'll just go somewhere else and cook.
I like it. Yeah, kind of stepping back into that right before you become a Pokemon
Yeah,
reseller. Perfect.
yeah. There we go.
Person you lean on the most in tough times.
Oh man, my mom. Yeah, 100% my mom. Yeah, she's there. I still, because I live far away. I don't see her super often. Um, and yeah, my dad passed probably a few years ago now from cancer, and so yeah, I call her a lot, like every second day. I try to at least call her every 2 days, and yeah, she's super supportive, and just she's big influence in my life for sure.
Well, maybe the same answer here then. The person who you attribute most of your success to.
Most of my success, yeah, no, I wouldn't give it just to my mom. I would give it to both my mom and dad. I'd give it to my parents if I could,
Okay.
for my family. They definitely instilled the values system that makes me who I am, and the work ethic that I have, and the education I have. They're the ones that help me get all that stuff and get my life started in the right way. Yeah, without them, I literally wouldn't be here. Literally. Yeah, so.
I love it. Good answer. This one's going to be one that you're going to have to probably think about, but do your best. How many Pokemon cards do you think you have in your total collection?
Oh Jesus Christ! Oh man, I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know. I have no idea. Maybe 20,000. Maybe I don't know. Maybe more. I don't. It has to be more. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never thought about
Never,
that.
yeah. Yeah, give it a thought one day. Look at all the booster boxes. Look at all the ETBs, whatever it is you have, and think, wow,
Probably
it's
better that I
probably
don't know. It's probably better that I don't know.
it's like you don't want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I have no. I don't even know. I'd have to.
All right,
You'd have to give me
we'll
some
skip
time
it.
to the calculator.
Yeah. I think you mentioned it earlier, but the set you have the most of.
Said I had the most of. There's a couple that I went in pretty good. I got quite a bit of VMAX Climax. That was one of those sets that I tried, the master set, um, the Japanese special set. I opened quite a bit of that at the time. I opened quite a bit of Vivid Voltage to master that one. Probably between the two.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably Vivid Voltage. I probably have the most of because I still
Okay.
have a couple sealed boxes of Vivid Voltage, and I have some sealed VMAX Climax as well. But I can't open it anymore. I feel bad opening it. It's too expensive now.
Yeah.
It's funny that set was like $80 for a while for a box,
Yep.
and that's when I was going in on it because I love
Yeah.
that
That's the
set.
way I felt
That's one of my
as well.
favorite
You know, like
sets. It was such a good set. It's such a good those high class Japanese sets are they're just so good. They're just so good.
it's so much fun to open.
Yeah, they
So
are.
much
Like the
fun.
experience of opening them is just like it's just so fun.
All right. Um, something you like. I'm sorry. Something you liked about yourself when you were younger, but you feel that you've lost in your adult years.
I used to be a very social person when I was young. Like when I was a young boy, I was downtown. I was one of the guys, the party guys had hidden all the clubs, and I was out every single day.
Mm.
And I'd be with multiple groups of people in the same. Like I was a social butterfly. And then we moved up north, and I've been up in Muskoka now for 8 years. Now I'm a homebody. Now I work, and it's home with the family. So I
Yeah.
lost that being like I was literally out every single night. Like there was never a night
Wow.
where I would just stay home. I was always out, and if it wasn't with this person, I'd have multiple groups of friends that I would just sometimes I'd be just cruising around the city, just like hanging around. But, now that's it. Now it's
Yeah.
work and home, and I like
That's it.
I like I like the family,
3 hour
and
podcast.
yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my
There was
social
a
life.
funny meme. It was somebody doing some stand up comedy on that exact point, and they said something like, when you're in your 20s and somebody says, "Hey, you want to go out?" You say yes right away. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
You say, "Hey, I'll burn down my apartment. What do you want to do? Let's go." They ask you in your 30s. You're like, well, what time are we coming back? I don't want to stay out too late. Who's driving? Like, and then in your 40s, it's like, no, I'm not going anywhere. If it's not here at my house,
yeah.
I'm not doing it. It's like, forget about it. uh, all right. Before we move into some of the personal side, we'll actually have a good transition here with this question. One of the hardest experiences you've had in your life so far?
No boy. Yeah, losing my dad was tough. It was tough. He fought. It's such a garbage subject and a downer, but yeah, he was
No, please go ahead.
fighting. He was fighting cancer for like 4 years,
Mm.
and watching him deteriorate and get sicker and sicker. And that was a tough time for me and my family. And it was tough for my dad because my dad was a very proud man, um, and he he hated the fact that he was deteriorating the way he was, like more than the average person would, I think. It's funny. The day he died was the day they finally told him you have to wear diapers, and that's the day he died. The next day, he's like, I don't know if he just made a decision. He's like, no, I'm not
That's
fucking
it.
wearing diapers. That's it. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like that for him, I think was like the final. It's funny. It was like literally the next day, like when the doctor told him that like he just wasn't strong enough to make it to the bathroom, and yeah, that was the day that he passed.
Well, sorry to hear that, man. I know those
Yeah,
times
yeah,
are
it's
not
tough.
easy. Yeah.
It's tough, and honestly, I don't. So many people have experienced, um, you know, very similar experiences. It's a very prominent way to die, unfortunately.
And it's great when you have, and which sounds like you do, great family around you, great support, and really help each other get through that. So
Yeah.
it's those kind of special moments that help in the hard times, for sure. And it's a good because we speak about this in the context of your family and your parents, and it's exactly where we're going to go into the next point, anyway. So you grew up in Canada, as you mentioned, Toronto. Portuguese background. So your
Yes.
mom and dad were from Portugal. They were farmers, right? If I got
Yep.
this right, they came in the '60s, and they were just hardworking. You kind of mentioned, I think, a small sentence there before, but taking care of the garden, cooking, taking care of the family, and like that was their hard, work way of life.
Yeah, that was
Um,
their hobby. Their hobby was the family, was keeping a clean and organized house, and then a happy, well-fed family. Like we were, my mom. I got my passion for cooking from my mom. She's an amazing cook. I mean, she grew up on a bigger farm than my dad. My dad was a little bit more poor than my mom. My mom had a
mm,
big farm, and it was a farm that was big enough at that time where they needed men to come and help. And part of the pay for the farm hands that would come was that they get to eat throughout the whole day. That was part of their pay structure. So essentially, my mom and her sister and my grandmother were running a friggin' restaurant in this little stone home, like cooking on friggin' open flames and no running water. And they're cooking for like 30 men every day, breakfast, because in Portugal you eat like 5 times a day. So there's like two breakfasts and then a big lunch and
mm,
then a dinner. Like, they were cooking like 4 meals a day for 30 men every single day. And
that's a lot.
yeah, and like I said, no running water. Like, I mean, this is archaic. Like, I mean, the house my mom was raised in, like the walls are probably maybe 3 foot thick stone. Like it's like
Mm.
friggin' that house is probably 600-700 years old. It's still standing. It's never going to fall. It's like
Wow.
it's like these giant stones. It's like they could be 5 feet long by 3 feet thick and 2 feet high. Like, I don't know how they built this friggin' house back in the day. But yeah, there was no running water. They did have electricity by the time they were older. But my mom remembers cooking on open flame every day. They had like an oven that they built outside, and it was heated by wood underneath, and it was big enough you could put like two whole lambs in there and still make your bread and your potatoes all in there. Like these, it was cool to see how they did it back in those days. But yeah, so now I forget what the question was. What were we talking about? What
No,
did
just
oh, you're asking
them
about
coming
Portugal?
over. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then my dad had a different background. He was a milheiro, they call it. He used to make flour. So essentially, people would bring grain to him, to his family, and they lived on a river, and they had like a windmill kind of thing that would
Yeah.
turn this giant stone around, and they would put the grain in, and that's how
Huh.
they would make flour. So you would bring your grain to them, they would turn it into flour for you, and then that's how they made their. You'd pay them to do for that service, right? So that was
Wow.
his thing.
What a great story.
Yeah.
And so how did they meet? How did your parents meet then?
They met. My dad was friends with my mom's brother, one of my mom's older brothers,
Okay.
and they used to go out and hang out together. And then as
Okay.
my dad kind of would go see his friend, my mom was there, and
Giving
and
the
my mom
eyes.
wanted nothing to do with him. For it took my dad 2 years to get my mom to actually friggin' say yes to him. And he used to walk for like 40 minutes every Sunday just to see
Get
her,
turned
even
down.
though she didn't want nothing to friggin' do with him.
Yeah.
But he would still go every Sunday to go and see her, and he'd hang out with her brother, and eventually he won her over.
There you go, kids. Those who want to cry about getting a bad DM on Instagram nowadays. Try
Yeah,
walking for 40
yeah,
minutes
walking
for the
45
girl.
minutes to someone who doesn't want to see it.
That's real rejection right there. So that sounds like a great story. But then they met, and eventually, though, they got obviously to Canada before they had you. So what was that journey like to get over here? And obviously, they came
Yeah,
from a.
it was funny because my dad has a huge family. He has 10 brothers and
Mm.
sisters, believe it or not. And he was the last one to go to Canada. All his brothers, even his mom went. So he was literally the last family member
Okay.
here. And he finally made the move over there. He was by himself. He wasn't married to my mom yet, but they still wrote letters back and forth. And after a year of him being there, they she agreed finally to marry him, and they got married. And my grandfather had to stand in for my dad at the wedding because my dad was in Canada. So
Oh
and
wow.
then she came over, and that's it. They just worked and saved. And back in those days, it was a little bit easier than those days. Things were so much cheaper back then, and if
Right.
you were smart with saving, you could
You
build a
could, yeah,
life quite easily.
yeah.
But yeah, just hard work. And then that's it. And then they had my sister, and then 8 years later they had me, and I think I was an accident because I don't know why they would want a kid 8 years later. So who knows?
Those are the secrets mom will never tell you. So no, son, we love you. That's when she changes the topic. Say, hey, did you see this new book I got? So with that kind of a family though, and that kind of upbringing for them, that is, what was it like for you then growing up under this hardworking farm-based family?
Yeah.
Did you also grow up on the farm, and that was part of
No,
how you
we
grew up?
lived downtown Toronto. Like so, I grew up downtown, right? Like my
Oh,
dad,
so it
my
was
dad worked at a factory. My mom worked at a meat department. She was a butcher
okay.
um, in the grocery store.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, my home life, I mean, it was, we ate great. We never went to red like my mom, she'd made, we ate awesome. And, on the weekends, where would we go? We'd go visit our cousins and brother. Like I have so many, like when we do a family picnic, it's literally like 150 to 200 people there, depending on who can
Wow.
make it that year, because there's so many of us. There's 10 brothers and sisters plus their kids and their kids, and our family's enormous now. So I have friggin'
That's
so many.
great.
I have more cousins than you can shake a stick at now. Um, and that's it. Then we lived. It was funny. I always had great food. I always had nice clothes. I always had nice furniture, nice place to live. But my parents wouldn't buy me toys. I had very very small amount of
Mm,
toys. Like even if Pokemon came out, like when I was young, my parents would never have bought me. I would never have had a collection for sure,
mm,
because my parents, they didn't like to waste money on these petty things. They always like to spend their hard-earned money on what's important and what they valued. So they really taught me a different type of value system. And lucky, we live in a time of access now, and those days aren't as necessary as they were back in the old days. But hey, when you're born poor, you have a different mentality. Uh,
yeah.
you and
Yeah. It changes you forever. That's for
yeah.
sure. Yeah. So then they probably then put the majority of that money, to your earlier point in the beginning of our conversation, towards your education.
Yeah, education. That's it. That was
Yeah.
their whole goal in life, was to let get, give me and my sister the opportunity to have a better life than they had. Right.
Mason says, "Jeez, if the De Sosa picnic is going down, I want to invite."
Yeah, no, the food is good, Mace. You come, you got about just the moms there. You probably have about 30 moms there, all Portuguese moms. They're all, oh man, you're gonna eat good that day, no doubt about it.
Food's not one concern you
No,
have to have.
no,
That's for sure.
no,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
The problem always is with families like that, and I have the same problem. My wife, she's Dominican. If I only eat one plate, and that's not a small plate, it's a heaping plate, massive. If I eat one plate, it's an insult. So what? You didn't like it? Was it not good? Like, yes, I did. I'm full. So no, you good. Have some more.
Yeah,
And
that's
if
the
you
board.
have to do like two to three plates just to say that you like the meal,
Yeah.
then dessert. Yes, that's right. Then dessert.
Yeah, I'm relating
Yeah.
to that one very, very hard. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So holiday seasons is always a good time to put on a good 10 or 15 pounds and say,
Oh
hey,
yeah,
yeah, that was a holiday. It was a holiday. So you grinded away. You went to school. We talked about that journey already. Um, and of course, along that journey, you had your son. But one of the things you and I spoke about, and just kind of in general passing, was your career had taken over a large part of your life, and you really kind of pulled back on building the family. You were always kind of busy,
yeah.
and so instead of having more children later on, you decided to get three dogs, three
And three
cats.
cats. Yeah. So now I got a mini zoo in my house now. Yeah. Well, we decided, because it was so challenging for the way hospitality my career was, especially at that time when I was younger, when I was really grinding at that time. Yeah, it just didn't make sense. There's just no way we could have had the second one. and you know what? I've always was an animal lover, and my wife is too, and that's it. We just started building a fur family too, so and it's worked out. It's worked out great. So I got
Nothing
lots
like
of furry friends around me. I've been You can't see them, but I've had dogs coming through right in front of me. I've been petting dogs at times throughout the stream, but you can't
I
see
think
them.
I saw a cat behind you at some point
Yeah,
earlier
there's
earlier
one
this
more right
year.
there. Maisie's right there,
Orange
just
one. Yeah.
licking herself right now. He's the oldest cat. Yeah, she's cute.
So you got there. Now you're obviously at a kind of a good point in your career.
Yeah,
You're probably looking to, like much like myself, slow down a little bit in some regard. We're not churning like we used to try to reach
yeah.
some
I'm looking more for
imaginary
quality.
pinnacle. Yeah,
Quality of life is a little bit more important to me now.
yeah,
I
yeah.
did the grind. I put my work in. Now it's time to kind of enjoy life a little bit more,
That's right.
and take a little bit more time for the things that I might have not taken the time to do in the old days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Fully agree. Doing the same thing here. And I think that might really transition well into the last two here, my friend.
yeah.
What advice would you give your son as he starts to grow in order for him to live the most fulfilled life that he can live?
Yeah, find your passion and follow it. That's it. I don't know what that is or what your skill is. Find your passion or something you're exceptionally talented at, and go for it. That's it. That's my advice.
I love that. And you know where it comes, my friend. We come to the pinnacle point of this conversation with the last one. As you leave the hobby, what legacy do you hope to leave?
I just want to leave hopefully good memories and good friendship. The friendships. And honestly, I would love to still be in these lives in 10, 15 years from now and still see Thrifty and Walrus and Chef and Bay. Like I'd love to see all these
Me too.
crazies still in the chat at that time. And obviously it might not be the way it is, but I think if it does turn out that way, I think the being part of that, I think would be something that would be part of the legacy for me, for sure. Being part of that group of crazies, whatever.
We're all in it together, my friend. We're all here, deep down the rabbit hole. Phil, this was an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for sharing all the details, all the great memories, the funny stories, the sad stories. Really appreciate you doing that with us here today. Again, time is something you can't give back, and the fact that you donated it to us just means the world to me.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody in the chat. Been rocking out for quite some time now. Where again, my mark now is at least 3 hours somehow. I'm not sure how that works out, just the way it does. But thank you so much for hanging out, everybody, spending all this time with us. Really appreciate it. Again, you don't get that back, so we're honored that you got to spend that with us here today.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Such a great experience. It's nice to be on this side of the fence and then kind of see it's kind of fun. But yeah, no, honestly, thank you so much. I was really flattered that you asked me to come on, and I'm so glad I did. And honestly, it was so much fun. It'll be something I will remember and cherish for forever. So thank you.
I'll be sure to share it with you so you can have a copy of it. And of course, my door is always open. Everybody else, we always appreciate you, and we wish you the
Thanks
best
to the
life
chat,
possible.
all you guys in the
Yeah.
chat, all you champions. Mason says I'm a friend to him. Yeah, Mason is definitely one of my guys. I've spent some time talking to him. He's such a nice gentleman.
Mason's a good guy. Yeah.
It really is.
Good night, Basic. We'll see you guys on
Basic.
the next one.
My Walrus.
Next
I
week,
love
guys.
you guys. Love you guys.
Have a great night.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate
Wonder.
it.